Hello, and welcome to this course on banner advertising. In this course, we're going to cover how to drive traffic with banner advertising. This course is divided into 3 modules. Module 1 covers creating banner ads. Module 2 covers ad campaign goals. And Module 3 covers setting up and running the campaign. By the time this course is over, you'll know how to effectively create and run banner ad campaigns for your business. So, without further ado, let's dive into the first module. Okay guys, welcome to Module 1. In this module, our expert will be teaching you about designing the actual banner ads. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
All right guys, so we are inside of Banner Snack, and this is where we're going to create our AdWords banner ad. Now, there's 2 options here, single banner and banner set. Banner set is an incredibly useful tool that you need to be aware of. It can really decrease the amount of time that you spend trying to customize all the different dimensions and sizes of banners. You just grab your main elements, so your main image and your headline and maybe a little bit more text, and then you create one ad, and then it automatically creates all the rest of those ads in all the different dimensions. The sidebar dimension, the header dimension, the perfect square dimension, the smaller perfect square dimension. You understand what I'm saying? And all you do is you go through after it's auto-generated those and you click and drag things around a little bit. It's an incredibly useful tool. Now, to keep things simple for the purpose of this lesson, we're just going to make a single banner ad to use inside of the Google Display Network ads platform. So let's go with a standard large rectangle. Now, there's a ton of great templates to work with and to start with. We're going to skip these, and of course there's some seasonal ones here taking up most of the queue. We're going to go ahead and create our own. So I'm going to come over here to add image. I'm going to grab this image of a gal over here, put her right there. We're going to scale her a little bit so she takes up a little bit less space. There we go. Almost perfect. Okay, and that gives us a little bit of room for a headline above her. Let's add some text. Because of the size of the ad, we'll just use the subheadline size. And we're going to say, just for grins, that we're selling some type of a tooth whitening kit, okay? So let's actually put the word overnight there. We'll grab a larger headline text. We'll put whiter teeth overnight, and let's give it a little bit of color. Blue and some red. Whiter teeth overnight. Pretty straightforward, standard toothpaste ad. These have not changed very much in the last 200 years or so, I don't think. Let's see. So everything jives here, okay? This is a good square banner ad. We've got a smiling woman with white teeth. We've got the headline, whiter teeth overnight, and we would presumably be sending someone, when they click on this, to a landing page for a free, trial kit or something like that if we were doing a loss leader thing, or we could send them directly to a sales page or an e-commerce store or something along those lines so that we can get them into our funnel and offer them our solution. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and we'll call this Teeth 01, and let's see, let's save again, and this time what we'll do is we'll download the PNG. So now we'll come over here to Google AdWords, and we are going to click on, let's go to campaigns, new campaign, and now we need to pick a goal for this campaign, which is what we'll do in the next lesson.
Hey folks, welcome to Module 2. In this module, our expert will be covering ad campaign goals. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Alright, so we're here where we left off in the last lesson at the campaign page. Basically what Google Ads has done, and most of the major ad platforms have done this as well, is they want to take users and have them choose an overarching overall campaign goal before they start creating their ad. And then throughout the process, based on the goal that they choose, they're going to get little hints and little tailorizations to sort of help them accomplish what they're trying to. It's a pretty smart move, and it makes it much more accessible to your average Joe who would sometimes just play with these different ad platforms and not have any success and then give up. So this is definitely a move in the right direction. Let's go through each of these goals and see which ones are relevant to us since we're running a display ad campaign. So first off, sales. Drive sales online, in-app, by phone, or in-store. That's pretty straightforward, right? You're either going to be sending somebody to a sales page or to an e-commerce store. And you can also do it via app and phone with phone numbers inside of the ads, which is kind of cool. And it looks like campaign types, search, display, and shopping are associated with this, so this could be an option for us. Next one, leads. Get leads and other conversions by encouraging customers to take an action. Pretty straightforward, sending people to landing pages, right? Campaign types, search, display, shopping, video. Website traffic. Get people to visit your website. The most basic, straightforward one out there. A little bit overused, I would say. Generally speaking, you should be choosing one of these two if you're just moving website traffic. But if you're just doing content marketing or something like that, this could be a good option. Search, display, shopping, video, once again, are the associated campaign types that you can choose from if you choose this as your goal. Product and brand consideration. Now, this is an interesting one. This is where you can actually get some complex ads that allow users to sort of explore the different features of products or services, and allows them to sort of compare yours to other offerings out there. It does work with display and with video. Brand awareness and reach. This is less about people clicking and actually taking an action and more about just getting your brand identity, your visual brand identity and name out there in front of as many eyeballs as possible. So it's mostly focused on impressions, not clicks, not conversions, but impressions. Okay, so that subconsciously people start becoming more aware of your brand because they're seeing it everywhere, whether or not they're actually, typing into a form or buying your stuff at that moment. So campaign types for this, as you can imagine, display is in fact one of them, and video is the other. App promotion. That's exactly what it sounds like, and you're trying to get installs and interactions for your mobile app. And create a campaign without a goals guidance. You should really stay away from this one unless you're kind of an ads guru and you know everything about this. You know the bidding, you know the auction concept, conversions, all the different algorithms and variables and elements involved, and you understand how it works, and you want to just sort of go in there and do everything on your own. This is the option for you, but it's not a particularly smart one if you're not an absolute AdWords guru. So it's better to pick one of these. And I think for us, we're just going to send people straight to a sales page for our teeth whitening solution. Let's click on this. We're going to choose display. We could choose shopping if we're sending them to an e-commerce store or something like that. That's definitely an option. We'll just do a standard display ad this time, though. And standard display ad campaign. Gmail campaign, that's a pretty cool concept as well, sending people or showing people ads within their free Gmail accounts. We'll stick with standard display campaign so we can show up and pop up on websites all over the web while people are browsing. And we'll go to, we'll say whiteteeth.com, which I don't even know if that is a website. I'm just typing it in. We'll hit continue. And this brings us into the actual process of setting up the campaign, which is what we'll start getting into more in the next lesson.
All right, welcome to Module 3. In this module, our expert will be covering setting up and running the campaign. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
All right, so here we are on the actual campaign settings page. We're going to go through the process of setting up and running and launching our campaign here. Now, the first thing you might notice is this number right here. Our targeting's reach as far as impressions is 10 billion plus. Why? Because we haven't set any categories to narrow down our audience yet. So right here in location, language, and down here in the audience section, we'll start narrowing that number down. Maybe not as much as you think though, because it's teeth whitening. It's not really super specific to any demographic. It's not really super specific to any niche or any hobby or any area of interest. Everybody, for the most part, has teeth. So we might end up leaving this pretty broad. Now let's say we're going to operate inside the United States only, so we won't mess with the location at all. Although if you really wanted to, you could add cities, zip codes, states in here. You could even go to advanced search, and you could narrow in on one little neighborhood. Let's say you were a door-to-door teeth whitening kit salesman and you wanted to do some local area stuff, generate leads in the local area. You could drop a pin right there inside of Lexington, and or let's say, this whole area here, and adjust the radius a little bit and target anybody within 10 nautical miles of, let's say, Shelbyville and Waddy in Kentucky there. So you can get pretty advanced with the locations. We're not going to do that though, okay? It's teeth whitening kits. We're mailing them out to people, okay, in our little pretend scenario. And we'll just leave it to the United States at large. Let's come down here. Languages, we'll just stick with English because the ad is written in English. And language doesn't really have any more of an impact on our product or our ad. We want to focus on high quality traffic right here. Or we could focus on clicks and impressions. Now, honestly, if we're selling things and we're not really selling anything super expensive, traffic quality doesn't really matter too much for something as basic as what we're doing. We're selling a normal priced teeth whitening kit. Okay. Now, if we were sort of trying to qualify leads, and sending them into an appointment settings apparatus or something like that, I would be more inclined to focus on high quality traffic. But I think everybody wants white teeth. And so we're going to focus on clicks in our case, okay? There's a bunch of other things you can choose here, by the way. Sometimes, depending on what type of ad you selected, you'll see conversion value or just plain conversions here. In this case, it's grayed out because we haven't set up conversion tracking as another feature within our AdWords account. But if you were to do that, you would be able to optimize here for conversions, which used to be the language, by the way. If you're wondering where that went, it's no longer what do you want to optimize for, it's what do you want to focus on, which I think was just a marketing decision made at AdWords. If you wanted to, you could manually set bids. I'm going to set it to automatically maximize clicks so that we're allowing Google and its algorithms to do all the work, and we're going to just see, after running that for a while, if we're happy with the results that we get. If we're not, we can always change it to manual. But let's trust Google, the almighty Google, and their algorithms for a while. And we're not going to set a CPC bid limit because this is our first campaign for this product. Again, make believe here. And we just want to see what happens first, and then we'll adjust bid limits or manual bidding later on if we want to. But if you wanted to, you could set this at $1, and as you can see here, it won't go beyond that bidding per click. And when we talk about bidding, we're utilizing the old standard auction strategy, which is very complex concept. It's difficult to understand, but you're basically letting the algorithm take over, and you're letting the algorithm know, hey, this is what I'm willing to bid. Okay. We're paying for clicks. Every time somebody clicks, we're paying for a click to our sales page. And let's see here. Budget. Now this is important, okay? Budget does not mean a cap on what you will spend each day, okay? It does not mean a cap. What it does is it takes the average. It says enter the average you want to spend each day. So whatever number you put here, it'll take that number and it'll basically average it out over the course of 30 days so that you will not have spent more than that number times about 30. Does that kind of make sense? So if you put 10 in here, you can expect about $300 to have been spent by the end of the month. Okay. And on, Monday, you might have only spent $5. On Tuesday, you might spend 20. Okay. It's important to understand that this could be double. Every day you could spend double what you actually put in this line here. Okay. But the average over time, after 30 days, will end up being this number times 30. Okay, so it's kind of complicated. It's a little bit confusing and misleading, but just understand that's what you're doing. So basically, come up with a monthly budget, divide it by 30, and put it right here. Okay, I don't even know why they choose to structure it this way. It's a little bit confusing, but that's what you're doing. A monthly budget divided by 30, and that's approximately what you're going to put right here. So let's go ahead and say that we're willing to spend, $100, up to $100 per day, or roughly $3,000 per month. Delivery method, if you wanted to, if you were on a tight timeline, you could set accelerated and it'll spend your money faster and get your ads in front of more people and get more clicks in a shorter period of time. In our case, we don't have, really a tight timeline. We don't have a sales quota to meet by the end of the month. We don't have a specific product launch that ends on a given day. We don't have a live event or anything. We're not bound by the calendar, and people's teeth are not going anywhere. So we can just stick to the standard method here. Ad group name, auto-generated, ad group 1, we'll stick with that. And then here we've got audiences. Now, audiences, if you have a very specific type of product in a certain niche, you would be doing a lot of poking around in here. In our case, again, it's a teeth whitening solution. So it's in our best interests to keep this relatively broad. But just for grins, so you can see what could be researched in here, let's poke around a little bit. And let's theorize that maybe people interested in beauty and wellness would be more likely to click on this ad. And we could always do another campaign later, or just choose one ad group within this campaign that focuses on that target and see if in fact we do get better results that way. But we could do this, okay, and that would basically narrow down the audience a little bit from super broad to less broad. For our purposes, we'll go ahead and keep it. We'll go ahead and keep it as it is without any specific audience restrictions. Demographics, honestly, we could sit here, do some research, and maybe find out that females are more likely to buy this, which sounds right when I say it. That sounds like something that your average person would think. We don't know that. And oftentimes when you actually do your market research, you'll find out that the reality is different from conventional wisdom. But yeah, we could do research that gives us actual demographic results. In fact, anytime you run an ad campaign, you should have sat down and done some market research and figured out what's called an ideal customer avatar, okay, where you're actually saying, hey, our ideal customer, the most likely one to purchase, is between 35 and 54, and they're female, right? And their parents and their household income is in the top 30% or higher. Okay. Now that I don't think really applies to us too much for this example. Number one, because we're pretending to be a teeth whitening company, so we don't actually have the the audience data. More importantly, though, again, everybody's got teeth. So I think for our first ad ever in the history of our teeth whitening company, we'll leave it pretty broad and then analyze the results afterwards. Okay. It's time to create the ad. Let's click down here. And we'll click on Upload Display Ads. And the final URL for that is whiteteeth.com, like we chose earlier. We'll click Choose Files to Upload. Go ahead and grab our neat little White Teeth Overnight ad. We'll click Add to Ad Group. And there we go. We've got our ad campaign ready to be started. Create campaign. Had to click it twice there. And this is a quick summary of all the details of our campaign, okay? So we can review all the choices that we made. Again, we left it pretty broad, so there's nothing super interesting here except for a reminder of course, the daily budget. Let continue, and voila, there we are. Now here's what you want to pay attention to when you're monitoring your campaign after it's launched. Clicks, impressions, click-through rate, and average cost per click. So clicks, obviously somebody clicking. Impression means all the people who saw it loaded on their browser at one point, whether they noticed it or not. That's why it's called, impressions instead of sightings. A lot of people don't even notice ads, right? They have banner blindness. But it was loaded. There's an instance of it being loaded in someone's browser. That equals one impression, okay? So clicks, impressions, click-through rate would be what percentage of the impressions of people who technically quote unquote saw it, ended up clicking. Okay, that's your click-through rate. And then average cost per click is basically the total cost that you've spent to get that number of clicks. That equals your average cost per click. Okay, so that's what you want to monitor. We don't really have much to compare it to right now, and of course, at the moment, we don't have any data whatsoever to look at, but you would want to monitor those, compare them to past campaigns if you do have past campaigns, and also, obviously, the big thing to compare it to here is when you send someone into your funnel, your teeth whitening kit funnel, how much money are you making? What's the average customer value, the lifetime customer value, as well as the initial order value? And if those numbers don't jive, meaning if the expense per click outweighs the average amount that you make from bringing on a customer, obviously you need to get back into that campaign settings page and start tweaking things a little bit and try to get that number down as much as possible. But that's it, guys. We've gone through the whole process of creating a visual, nice display ad, setting it up with all the various parameters, and finally launching it.
Hello, and welcome to this course on funnel building. In this course, we're going to cover how to build effective sales funnels for your business. This course is divided into 3 modules. Module 1 covers planning and choosing your funnel type. Module 2 covers crafting and splintering your offers. And Module 3 covers creating the funnel pages themselves. By the time this course is over, you'll know how to effectively build funnels that generate leads and sales for your business. So, without further ado, let's dive into the first module. Okay guys, welcome to Module 1. In this module, our expert will be teaching you about planning and choosing your funnel type. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Okay guys, so we'll be using ClickFunnels for this training since it's arguably the most well-known and widely used platform out there. The first thing we're going to do is have a look at all the different kinds of funnels there are to choose from, and then we'll plan our own. As you can see, there's no shortage of types of funnels you can build. We've got invisible funnels, which consist of content being delivered first and then asking for payment on the next page if they liked it. Not many have heard of that one. We've got video sales letter funnels that are heavily reliant on sales videos. We've got lead magnet funnels where you're offering something for free in return for an email opt-in. We've got reverse squeeze page funnels, which deliver content first and then ask for an email opt-in, yet another unique type. We've got the 2-step tripwire that allows you to pitch a low-ticket offer followed by upsells. We've got the bridge funnel where you collect a lead and then move them onto another funnel like an affiliate offer. We've got a sales letter funnel, a more traditional funnel consisting of long-form sales pages. We've got auto webinar and live webinar registration and attendance funnels, great if you're selling high-ticket items. We've got hero funnels that really stress your personal brand. Survey funnels where you can learn more about your visitors and then redirect them to an offer based on their answers. Ask campaign funnels, a trending type that helps you figure out what your audience wants. Homepage funnels, which are meant to sort of mimic the role of traditional websites, but funnel people into your offers. Application funnels are great for qualifying potential coaching or high-ticket service clients. Daily deal funnels are all about getting new customers with irresistible offers. Membership funnels designed to sell products and get people into your members areas. The product launch funnel, a series of video pages designed to prep people for a big launch by the end, pioneered by Jeff Walker, of course. Live demo funnels are great for showcasing and demoing your products or services. Storefront funnels designed to mimic the look and feel of an e-commerce store before funneling people through to your core offers. Summit funnels, perfect for getting big names together in one online event. Cancellation funnels, a great way to try and keep people from jumping ship, as well as learning why they wanted to. And the squeeze page funnel, an opt-in funnel that leverages the power of ultra minimalism and curiosity to get opt-ins. Now, if you're overwhelmed, don't worry. You don't need to worry about the vast majority of these yet. If you're just starting out with funnels or just starting out with business online in general, there's only a handful you really need to worry about. At the end of the day, it depends on what you have and how you want to give it to the world. So, do you have a book, an ebook? Do you have a video course? Do you have knowledge that could easily be turned into a book or a video course? Do you have a high-ticket offer that you want to sell via a long webinar presentation? Of the things you have, do you want to give one of them away for free for the sake of lead generation? Which one? For our purposes, I think we'll say we're going after the most accessible and common scenario. We have a free gift, and we have a product we want to charge money for. Now for that type of funnel, I'm actually going to click up here on Classic Funnel Builder. I'll click Sell My Product, and I'll choose the good old-fashioned sales funnel. I'll give it a name, and I'll hit Build Funnel. But before we actually get into that, before we start designing the funnel, we need to start figuring out, of the things we have, what do we want to give away for free, and what do we want to sell. That's all part of crafting and splintering, which is what we're going to cover in the next module.
Hey folks, welcome to Module 2. In this module, our expert will be showing you how to craft and splinter your offers. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Okay guys, so this is going to be a little bit on the fly. There's a lot of brainstorming going on here. We're taking stock of what we have, and we want to figure out how we can craft an offer or a funnel of multiple offers based on what we have at our disposal. You have to get a little bit creative here sometimes. In our case, we want one thing to give away and one thing to sell. We've got a bunch of ebooks here that cover several topics: product launches, team management, low-cost startup. We've got video courses here, which have high perceived value and would likely be a good thing to sell at a low to mid-ticket price as our upsell after somebody opts in. We've also got a few miscellaneous things here that we've categorized as other. Landing page templates. Those can be useful. People might pay for those. That also might be something good to give away for free as a lead magnet. Sales page critiques. That's a good one, a valuable one. Sort of a one-on-one thing. So that's probably something we would charge a premium price for. Same thing with coaching. Now this is what we've got at our disposal. And one thing that I happen to have right here on my hard drive is this one right here. A video course called High Level Mastermind. Now I'll actually pull that onto this slide down here just so we can see it and visualize it. And it is exactly what it says, okay? It's a long video course that talks about higher level strategies that can sort of take your business to the next level. It's a very useful video course. Now, here's the question. Do we have to go into our bag of things and find a lower ticket item to give away for free that is relevant? We probably could. I mean, some of these might be relevant, or we could go out and buy or license something else. However, I remember that this one includes a little PDF guide that sort of outlines the course and sort of hits the main points. Now, it's not advertised here as part of it. It's sort of just an afterthought, I guess. However, it is a useful PDF guide. So the question is, do we need to necessarily, in order to craft an offer for this funnel, okay, a two-part offer, something for free and something to sell, do we need to necessarily go and grab something else to add to this, or can we do something called splintering? If we already have a component of this offer that is relevant to this offer, would it be better to take that component out and stick it here as the entry point, as the free giveaway? In many cases, yes, and that is called product splintering or offer splintering. Now, we don't have a way to advertise that PDF. So what we're going to do is get a little bit creative here, and we're going to create an e-cover, okay, so that we actually have something to put on our sales page in our funnel that makes it look kind of nice. So let's come on over here to myecovermaker.com. Great tool for creating graphics to give your info product sort of a tangible feel. And we're going to grab this iPad right here. It's always good for representing ebooks and PDFs. And let's go ahead and search images. And let's look for entrepreneur. All right. Couple of good ones here. I like this one with a guy writing something on a whiteboard. That sounds sort of mastermindish, doesn't it? Right, so we'll get that situated there. Actually, might make that a little bit smaller. And then let's put a title up top. And let's just sort of call it something similar. Okay, it doesn't have to be the exact same title, but we'll call it high-level strategies. Resize that a little bit, and that looks fine. Okay, that looks like a good ebook or a good free report to give away. We'll click finalize. We'll give it a couple of moments to render that, and there you go. That's not a bad looking ebook or a bad looking PDF. Okay, we probably could have made it look a little bit prettier, okay? This could be a little bit more flush, I guess. But you get the idea, okay? We took something that already exists within the assets that we have, within the offer, the main core thing that we were going to sell. We took a component and we splintered it away from it and made it sort of its own self-sufficient thing, okay? And we're going to utilize this. Let's go ahead and download this .png file. We're going to utilize this in our funnel. Let's come back over here, drag this right in here just to be able to visualize what we're talking about. What we're going to end up doing is sending traffic to an entry point where we offer this for free, okay? After we offer that for free, we're going to send them to this where we charge a certain price, we haven't decided yet, for this video course, okay? What we collected here when we gave this away for free, however, was emails. Okay, so we're going to be sending people into a sequence of automated emails, presumably. It's one of the most basic funnels. So even if nobody buys the product that you end up selling here, at least you ended up getting a lead added to your email list, okay? So this is pretty much it, guys. This is what it comes down to when you're thinking about either crafting offers or splintering offers that you have into multiple components that can make up various steps inside of a sales funnel. So now that we've got the idea, this is what we're going for. Our free component and our paid component. Let's go ahead and take this. Let's go back into ClickFunnels and let's actually go through the funnel designing process where we actually create the pages and make this happen and come to life.
All right, welcome to Module 3. In this module, our expert will teach you about creating the funnel pages themselves. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Okay, so if you'll recall, a couple of lessons ago, we had just chosen the funnel type and hit the button Build My Funnel. Well, this is where we left off. We chose this basic sales funnel with a free offer at the entry point, followed by a sales page with a paid product. Now that we've finished crafting and splintering our offer, we can get started actually designing the pages. So first we'll need to choose a template for our lead page. There's a ton of awesome ones here, but I'm kind of a minimalist guy. So I'm going to choose this simple one right here. Alright, now that that's added to the funnel, we'll hit Edit Page. And right here, all we need to do is plug in our image and our copy. So let's click on this book here. I'll go ahead and delete that. I love this little arrow thing here, but I don't think it'll jive well with our e-cover, so I'm going to delete this as well. I'll click this plus button to add an element, and I'll choose Image. Then I'll click the image placeholder, and I'll come over here and click on this image button over on the right. And I'll grab our little ebook graphic that we made in the previous lesson. Okay, so far so good. Now let's just add our copy a little bit. I'll double click the headline and let's replace that with this headline for our lead magnet. And we could use this subheadline here, but I don't think we'll need it, so I'll delete that as well. And I'd say we're all set. Let's hit Save, and then Exit, and move on to the next step. So our next step is our sales page. Now, I don't have a lot of copy for a long-form sales letter, nor do I have a video. So I'm going to jump down to the bottom and select this nice short-form minimalist one. Now that that's loaded into our funnel, I'll hit Edit Page. And the first thing we'll do is we'll start replacing all of this copy. So I've got a few lines prepared here. I'll insert this one here. And this one here. and this one here, and this one down here. Next, I'll go ahead and start deleting some of the elements we don't need for the purpose of this example. This section, this paragraph can go. This paragraph, this top menu bar, and we'll go ahead and leave our friend Bill Newsom there and just pretend it's an actual quote from a real person. We'll click on our image placeholder here. We'll click the image button on the right, and we'll replace it with our main tabletop image. We'll do the same down here with this one. Click, image button, and double click this one. And we'll do the same down here with this one. Click on it, image button on the right, and double click this one. And the very last thing to do here is get our button ready. I'll change the button text to buy now. And for set action, we have to actually tell ClickFunnels what the button's going to do. Since the order form is the next hard-coded step in our funnel, we can literally just choose go to next step in funnel right down here. And we're all set. I'll hit save. And sometimes it'll ask you for SEO metadata, so I'll just paste whatever was last in the clipboard right here for now. And we'll hit exit. And let's come back to our funnel overview. The next step is the order form. We'll click here and select a template. There's tons of really good ones to choose from here. I personally appreciate the old-fashioned skinny order form, so we'll choose that one. Once that's ready, we'll click Edit Page. And there's not really much to change on this one. I think I'll get rid of the logo. And we'll insert some new copy in this headline here. Now that item name says dynamically updated because it is. When we specify the product name elsewhere inside of ClickFunnels, it'll be updated and reflected on this form automatically. So there's really nothing else to do here. Let's hit save and exit. Next, we'll click on Order Confirmation. Once again, plenty of cool templates to choose from. I'm going to choose this blue mother funnel one here. And once that's added, we'll click Edit Page. And really, the only thing to do here on this one is delete this logo. This is where people can see a confirmation of what they just bought, and there's an Access Purchase link, which will take them to the thank you page, which is the last step in the funnel. So let's click Save and Exit. And finally, let's click on Thank You page. Now this is the final step, and it'll usually include a download link or a registration page or something like that. We'll use this blue Thanks Check Your Email one down here on the left. We'll click Edit Page. And this is pretty much good to go as is. I'll just delete this one extra line here because I don't have any copy for that and I don't think we need any. And then we'll need to tell ClickFunnels what we want this button to do. So we'll click Set Action. And we would just put the access URL here, whether it be a direct download link or a registration form for people to create a login to access a members area, or anything like that. I'm just going to put clickfunnels.com here for grins. Let's hit save and exit one final time. And there you have it. We've just created our entire sales funnel. From entry point, which was a free offer, through a sales page for a paid offer, and then the order form, order confirmation, and thank you page, where we can finally deliver that product to our new customers. And when we're ready to send traffic into this, we'll just click on Sales Page, which is the first page in our funnel, and we can send them into this URL right here.
Hello, and welcome to this course on hiring and outsourcing. In this course, we're going to cover how to ease some of your burden, expand your capabilities, and reduce costs by outsourcing and hiring virtual staff. Module 1 covers hiring permanent virtual team members. Module 2 covers outsourcing jobs to freelancers for specific projects. And Module 3 covers managing your virtual team. By the time this course is over, you'll know how to effectively and affordably hire remote team members or freelancers for your business. So without further ado, let's dive into the first module. Okay guys, welcome to Module 1. In this module, our expert will be teaching you about hiring permanent virtual team members. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Okay, so when we're looking at hiring permanent employees, whether full-time or part-time, the two main countries that come to mind are India and the Philippines. Now, these are both also a good source of freelancers, by all means. However, these are also very popular for full-time staff because of how cost-effective they are and how much money you can save as a company by outsourcing to these countries. So, developers and programmers in India are going to run you $1,500 and up. Designers, $1,300. SEO specialists, $1,000. Social media managers, $1,000. General virtual assistants, $1,000. And customer support, $1,000 and up. That's still very cost effective, but it's not quite as cost effective as the Philippines. As you can see, the Philippines, things are even less expensive. Programmers, $500. Designers, $400. SEO specialists, $400. $300 for social media managers. $350 for general virtual assistants. Customer support, $300 to $600. I mean, it's a no-brainer, especially that last one. Now, the reason for the price difference is really just the power of the dollar. In the Philippines, the buying power of the dollar goes much further. So these, although they look incredibly small to us, are actually comfortable salaries in the Philippines, depending on age and where in the Philippines you live and that sort of thing, cost of living. However, generally speaking, the dollar goes much further in the Philippines, and also there's obviously a difference in demand, okay? India is very sought after by companies all over the world for outsourcing, okay? And obviously demand drives up price a bit too, whereas the Philippines is until recently, just a few years ago, was sort of an unknown gem. And I say gem because in the Philippines, they actually speak better English than in India. In the Philippines, it's one of their official languages, and you can tell because they all sound 100% fluent. It's crazy. I personally didn't realize this before looking into the matter. In the Philippines, even the accent is barely noticeable. It sounds, if anything, some people confuse it with a Latino American accent sometimes, a first-generation Latino American maybe. Okay, there might be a little bit of a Southern Californian twang sometimes. It's been referred to as that as far as their accent is concerned. So the accent is very, very minimal. Grammar is just about perfect. Honestly, the most common grammar mistakes among Filipinos is more or less the same mistakes that you'll notice among young Americans. Okay, and usually you only notice that in written content. So Philippines are an absolute gold mine for outsourcing, especially now that their workforce over the last 10 years or so are becoming much more technically skilled on all these different online types of tasks. So now they can do pretty much everything that folks in India can do at a much lower price, and there's no language barrier. There's no stigma about the accent if you're doing customer service over the phone. All right. Obviously, that's totally unjustified and not okay that there's a stigma about the Indian accent when customers call customer support. However, that stigma does exist. It's a well-known stigma, and it's a reality that you have to deal with as a business owner. In the Philippines, there is no such accent, and there's no stigma, therefore, associated with phone support. So cheaper, better English, and more or less the same skill sets. So that's why we're going to be focusing primarily on the Philippines in this video when we're looking at hiring permanent employees, okay? Now, if you do decide you want to check out India, India is still an incredibly cost-effective place. There's a very skilled workforce, very dedicated people there. It's a great place to outsource to. And if you prefer to do that, there's a lot of different avenues for that. One example would be virtual employee, and there's lots of companies just like this. You can just Google outsource to India, and you'll find companies that will basically do the recruiting and the hiring and the vetting and the filtering for you to make sure that you get good employees. However, obviously, if you use a service like this, there's going to be a bit of a premium tacked on in addition to what you'll be paying as a salary to the workers. Okay, so just be aware of that. But I would say it's probably worth it, okay, to get it right the first time and have someone who is experienced in doing this type of vetting and recruiting do this for you. Now, the next thing I want to look at, and the place we're going to spend most of our time, is onlinejobs.ph. Onlinejobs.ph is an incredible resource. It's a great place to save a little bit of money while you're doing your recruiting, meaning you're not paying a premium for your workers on top of their salaries because you're doing the actual vetting and the filtering yourself. You're just paying a monthly fee or a quarterly fee here for however long you need to do your recruiting operations. It's really a great deal. It's a great way to tap into the Filipino outsourcing or business process outsourcing market. And there's a few different ways to use this site to find the perfect, permanent, long-term team member. As you can see, there are an absolute ton of job posts here. This is a very happening market, okay? And the people who are signed up here, the Filipino workers who are signed up looking for work here, are very active in checking here. We've got 7,000 job posts for writing, 22,000 job posts for English-related work, web development, finance and management, WordPress, PHP programming, customer service, very big one. Professional services, graphics and multimedia, very talented people in the Philippines in these areas. Sales and marketing, project management. You can even find people in leadership and management positions to take even more of the load off of your shoulders, which is essentially what you're doing when you're hiring full-time employees. Okay, let's just for grins, project management sounds like an interesting one. Let's do a search for PMP and see what comes up. So we've got PMP. So here we have a whole, let's see, what do we got here? 29 search results for project managers. These are people who are able to fill actual management and leadership positions in your company. And we're looking at, on average here, it looks like around $1,000. I saw one up here for close to $2,000. I mean, that's pretty significant, guys. Okay, for someone who can actually take that level of weight off your shoulders, so you can actually count on to be a leader and a manager. Okay, over here, what do we got? I saw the word process executive, senior process executive. Someone who's actually handling things, doing the collaboration and the communication for you so that you don't have to. This is pretty significant that even this level of expertise exists on this website. However, most people don't come here looking for this type of thing. Most people come here for the more standard suite of skills. Let's do a search for content writer. Philippines are well known for their English skills, so let's leverage that and have somebody from the Philippines actually writing our social media content, our blog content. Wouldn't that be great to get off your chest? Content is just a pain in the butt, isn't it? Let's see here. $291 to $388. That's the desired salary for an experienced writer here. Consider that for a moment. Paying someone just a few $100s a month and knowing that every week you're going to get, 3 or 4 blog posts published on your blog. Content published to social media. Maybe even having marketing emails written. It depends on their skill set. You've got to interview these people. But you've got to understand the value of that for just a few $100. How much weight does that take off of your shoulders? Freelance SEO writer. This guy knows how to write in a way that's optimized for search engine ranking. SEO-based articles. $485 to $582. I mean, that's a hell of a deal. Got another one down here. Just under $600 for content creator. You'll notice a lot of these people have 3 or 4 different skills that they've developed working online. And that's another thing to consider as well. How much of a workload can you pass off to your team if you can actually have multiple people handling multiple jobs per person? So this is a great way to search out people who are already qualified for the skills that you have. However, the most common way to approach recruiting on onlinejobs.ph is filling out an actual job posting. So I'm going to click this Post a Job button here. And we're going to pretend that we are looking for a software developer, okay? And I actually have at my disposal a very cool program called Startup Bootstrapped, which is run by a guy named Mark Thompson. And they have all sorts of training and resources specifically on the recruiting process for software people. So if you're getting into software and you need people who can develop, who can design UIs, who can get into the back end and do all the magical things that they do in the back end, this would be a very cool resource to check out. And I'm actually going to be utilizing one of the done for you job postings right here, because personally I'm not a specialist in back end software development or web development. So I don't really know how to write the perfect job posting. Okay, so I'm going to leverage this asset here and just paste that here. Let's have a look here. So we're looking for a back-end web developer. Let me actually change the name accordingly. And the job description right here basically explains that we need someone who's able to do back-end stuff, okay, back-end development, but still be able to communicate and collaborate with the front-end people, which means the designers, the people making the UI, the people who make things look pretty on the front end, as well as with customers, okay. Let's see here. Basic understanding of front-end technologies is therefore necessary as well. It's important. What you're looking for: 5 years of experience, back-end development, want to transform big visual ideas into flawless functionality. So someone who can look at the desired idea, the desired outcome for the software and say, I know how to make that happen. I can actually design the functionality or develop the functionality on the back end. Okay, passionate about learning from your coworkers, improving your skills, communicating your choices to the internal. So, I mean, you're basically listing a lot of traits that you want people to have. Okay, you want people reading this application and saying, is that me? Okay, a geek about process, streamlining, sharpening how you approach. You're also setting these people up for success by telling them what your standards are. You're expecting people to be enthusiastic about these different types of traits and characteristics. Okay, and these different behaviors. Essential job functions. Much of your work at Pay Kickstart, since we're getting that from, like I said, Mark Thompson, who runs Pay Kickstart. I'll just say X for now. Much of your work will be contributing to improve on the features and functionality of existing applications. Don't rule yourself out if you don't have all the skills and experience we mentioned. We look for passionate, driven people who care about improving their craft every day. That's important, okay? Now, that's optional. It's obviously going to depend on your needs. If you need somebody who's absolutely ready to go and knows everything, make that clear. However, if you're open to people who are not quite at that level, okay, but for the sake of being cost effective or whatever, you're still willing to have them come on board and be trained by you or their fellow team members and get better, then by all means put that in here. You'll get more applications that way, right? And finally, we've got in bullet point format here a list of all the things that they need to be able to do. Design and implementation of data storage solutions, the optimization of the application for maximum speed, building reusable codes and libraries for future use. Once again, I'm not a programmer, so I don't understand what half of this stuff means. Same thing for desired qualifications. Basic understanding of front-end technologies and platforms, CSS preprocessors, Laravel framework. See, I can't even pronounce the words in here. But you need to know what you're looking for, and you need to communicate very clearly to the potential applicant what the things are that you're looking for. And of course, you're outsourcing to somebody on the other side of the world. So this job requires routine desk and computer work. No travel is required. Okay, now based on that chart we were looking at earlier, a web developer, a back-end programmer in the Philippines, $550 to $1,300. Let's just say $600 a month. Type of employment, full-time, permanent team member. Okay, ID proof. On onlinejobs.ph, this basically means the minimum amount. Basically, they get a score for all the different types of things they upload to the website, such as a driver's license, proof of past work experience, that type of stuff. And it's not the end of the world if they have a slightly lower ID proof. However, it's recommended that you try to filter applicants who have a higher ID proof score on onlinejobs.ph. Now, the skill section down here is pretty important. However, you don't want to overdo it, okay? Because you want to make sure that you're getting the people who have the skills that you need. You don't want to add a bunch of extra ones, because if you add, like, let's say, okay, writing and speaking English is very important. Okay. Well, if people don't really have that particular skill or writing, we need people to be able to do, technical writing, web content writing. If you add a bunch of irrelevant stuff, although it sounds cool, you're going to be filtering out people who might be rock stars at the main thing that you need. Okay. So it's best just to grab a few specific things. So for us, we're going to be looking at software development and programming, right? We could grab all of the relevant ones that we might need. I don't know what half of these things mean because I'm not a programmer. However, you want to basically focus on just the handful of things that you absolutely, definitely need. So for ours, for example, I remember seeing PHP, JavaScript, Laravel. Those sound pretty familiar. WordPress development, you could click if you need somebody who knows WordPress. So anyway, the point is, just choose the handful of skills that are specifically directly relevant and necessary for the job posting. Don't go crazy, otherwise you'll be filtering out a lot of people who might actually be absolute rock stars, okay? That's about it for hiring full-time permanent employees. Once again, lots of options out there. You don't have to go to the Philippines. If you do go to the Philippines, however, onlinejobs.ph is a fantastic place to do it, both for searching people by resume and posting jobs. And you can expect a whole lot of responses to an application on onlinejobs.ph. And of course, the next step would be inviting them to a Skype conversation, for example, or a chat conversation, where you actually interview the ones who you feel are qualified based on what you're looking for. Okay, and make sure you actually have a set of questions ready to interview these people on the spot and see which ones are going to progress to the next level. And eventually, you'll hopefully narrow down one person who you want to hire. And always keep a Rolodex. If you had a couple of rock stars and you just couldn't hire them, okay, let's say you've only got one position for one person, keep a Rolodex and contact them later if work opens up. That's always a good idea as well. But that sums up hiring full-time permanent employees.
Hey folks, welcome to Module 2. In this module, our expert will be showing you how to outsource jobs to freelancers for specific projects. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
All right, guys, so here we are on Upwork. Now we're going to be looking at Upwork and Fiverr.com for hiring project-based freelancers, meaning you have a job, you need that job done, you're going to pay someone for that project. Now it might be an upfront agreed on cost for the entire project, or you could pay per hour, okay, depending on exactly what the project is and obviously the desires and the needs of the individual who's completing the project for you. Some people will only work for an hourly wage as opposed to agreeing on a project-based payment. Now, Upwork is a great place to come to because it's a little bit higher end than Fiverr, or at least it's perceived that way. And you can certainly get a lot of great applicants from here. However, what comes with the territory? Price. You are going to be paying a little bit more when you go to Upwork versus Fiverr for specific projects. So in this case, let's say that we're actually looking for an appointment setter. Okay, there's no shortage on Upwork of different types of positions and specialists. Okay, you could come up with anything, and it's probably on Upwork. Anything from web design to software development to voiceovers, graphics design. But for our example, let's do appointment setting. And appointment setting just means following up with leads or even cold calling and trying to get appointments set up for sales calls. Okay, so let's try appointment setting, and we've got several pages worth of results here, okay? A lot of people here are doing appointment setting, and as you can see, it's always in parallel with sales and telemarketing. A lot of people who are marketing themselves as appointment setters will also happen to have closing as a skill, meaning they can also do the actual sales calls for you. They can also do the closing calls for you. A lot of them will be cold callers, They can do cold calling. Some people will specifically say in their resume that I will not do cold calling. I work with warm leads only. Okay, so you'll need to make sure you find one that fits what you're looking for. Let's just click on Deborah here. Actually, she doesn't actually specifically say appointment setting. Oh yeah, she does right there. So let's click on hers. Let's have a look at her Upwork profile. So she's got an 80% job success rate. That's one of the things you want to look at here, is how exactly your fellow job posters are rating the people here. So we've got relevant work, then we've got all work history. Okay, there's a lot of cold calling, lead generation, social media, sales. So it looks like she actually does sales calls as well. And it looks like for the most part she has some pretty good feedback, or in some cases no feedback. Right here, 3 stars, but no explanation given. Okay, in my book, I usually only want to take a very negative review seriously if there's some details given. But relevant work will be specifically, things that include that keyword, appointment setting or appointment setter. And it looks like she's had a lot of success doing that job for people in recent history, okay? She's done 256 jobs on Upwork. She's earned into the 6 figures. She has an hourly rate of $28. And she's worked a whole lot of hours here. So it looks like she might actually be a good candidate to search for. And this is the process that you would use if you were searching Upwork for qualified candidates manually. However, the thing about Upwork, let's actually come back to, Deborah, is you'll notice you can't just reach out to them directly like you can on some other sites, because it's not a gig or a micro job site like Fiverr. So you actually have to have a job posting listed on Upwork to invite them to. And in this case, we know that we don't, or the software knows that we don't. So it says post job to invite. That's the only way we can get in touch with Deborah. So we have to post a job. First, we could do that by clicking that button. But the standard way is just to come up here, jobs, and click post a job. Create new job. And we're going to go ahead and name our job post. Appointment setter. Job category. Upwork automatically put that in lead generation, which sounds like a good place for it. We'll hit next. And description. Now, we've already got an example typed up here for an appointment setter job description, and we're just going to explain everything that we need. So we are in Westchester County. We need people to set up appointments on telephone. Responsibilities include cold calling local businesses with some leads provided to set up appointments for senior sales executives. So there's your sales guy. He's going to be the one actually closing the calls. Okay, the appointment setter is just someone who actually goes out there and is good at cold calling and getting people interested in setting up an appointment in the future. Okay, follow a simple script. They need to be able to do that. Also responsible for sourcing prospecting leads through internet searches such as Yelp, Google, and other internet sources. There's a proactive duty that's included in this job. Follow up with prospective leads. Confirm appointments for the senior sales executive. Act as a liaison between client and sales rep once the prospect has agreed to setting up an appointment. Now, if we had other project files that we needed to upload, we could put that right here, but we don't, so we'll hit next. And in this case, it sounds like for an appointment setter, we probably are looking for an ongoing project, not a one-time project. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click that. And we're looking for probably just these skills right here. Sales, that's not really necessary because we're having them pass leads through to the sales man. And we've got telephone handling might be a good one. And we'll go ahead and leave it at that. We don't want to add too many skills and over filter here. Let's go ahead and hit next. And we're looking for freelancers. We could go worldwide. We could go find somebody in the Philippines, right, or the UK or Australia, someone who, seems to have a pretty standard English accent, and we could have them calling in the United States if we wanted to provide the service, or the infrastructure for them making those international calls. Okay, for example, we could, if we were doing this via Skype, that would be an option. But for our purposes, let's do US only. And states and time zones, let's just say Central Time. Next. Who can see your job? Only Upwork freelancers, anyone. Let's go ahead and increase the reach to anyone. If we wanted to, and we only wanted to reach out to people like Deborah, who we were just now looking at, and manually invite people, we could do invite only. Putting anyone on here or only Upwork freelancers means everybody on Upwork will see the job posting, and if it applies to them, you're going to get a ton of applications to sift through, okay? Which may be good, may be bad. Okay, how many freelancers do you need for this job? We're looking for just one, and we have an option here of selecting past freelancers that we've worked with to specifically invite right from the get-go. We do not have any, but we will theoretically go back to that results page for people who have appointment setter as a skill on Upwork and go and start manually inviting people who were interested in to come and apply to our job. We could add special qualifications here, such as independent or agency, if we want just one person, who's working for themselves from home, for example, or if we want an agency, so somebody who's actually running an office with a few people who are doing multiple projects or multiple jobs. Hours billed on Upwork, let's say we only want people who have worked 500 hours or more, okay, to filter quality a little bit. Job success, let's say 80% and up. English level, self-assigned, let's say native or bilingual is important. And group, leave to no preference. Let's hit next. Pay by the hour or pay for a one-time project. Now let's say we're just running a campaign here, okay? We're just hiring someone for a one-time project. We could click that. Do you have a specific budget? Let's say we are willing to spend $2,500. And in this case, we would probably be setting some type of a quota, right? So let's say we're just opening a new B2B service in a certain city. And we just want to get, 20 appointments set. All right, we're not looking to actually hire someone on as an employee, as a permanent team member. We just want them to do this one project for us. So we're going to put a fixed price, $2,500, and we want to go for intermediate experience to make sure that the job gets done the first time around. And there you go. There is our project-based freelancer job posting. We could post this, and suddenly a ton of people on Upwork would see it and come check us out. So that's the Upwork side of things. Again, Upwork is seen as a little bit higher level. It's a little bit more expensive, but generally speaking, you're seen as getting higher quality workers and work done. Now, the other end of the spectrum could be Fiverr. Okay, Fiverr.com, you're paying for, Fiverr started out as literally just a $5 micro job website. Okay, obviously now very few people buy things for just $5 on Fiverr. Okay, but it's still dirt cheap. It's gig based. So just go accomplish one thing and you're done. Okay, there's no hourly rates, although you could theoretically arrange something like that and do that manually. Okay, and we're going to say we just need a website built. Okay, so we're here on Fiverr. We're searching. We can sort by recommended or newest arrivals or best selling. Newest arrivals is a good way to try and get somebody who's willing to work on the cheap because they're trying to build up their portfolio. They're trying to get more reviews. As you can see, these people don't exactly have a lot of stars there, and that usually means they're willing to do work for cheaper. Obviously, be careful with that because that could mean that you're going to get low quality work done. Obviously, there's more assurance of quality if you use recommended or best selling. So let's come over to best selling for website builders and content management systems. And we've got a lot of different options here to look at. And remember the dollar number that you're seeing here is only the starting price. That's the lowest entry, the lowest level of what they have to offer, okay? Another thing you're looking at is what level of seller are they? If they're a level 1 seller, that means they're still relatively new, but they've accomplished enough basic stuff and gotten good enough reviews for those things that you can more or less trust that they're going to do a pretty good job, okay? From their perspective, level 1 means they have some restrictions and cool things that they cannot do as far as how to charge money and how to customize their gig listing and that sort of thing. But from our perspective, level 1 just means they've been around for a little while, not super long, but they've got some experience under their belt and they have met a certain minimum level of customer satisfaction, which is good. I would say, unless you're really looking to to sort of pinch the pennies and tighten your belt buckle and get things as cheap as possible, If you're not looking to do that, I would say stick to level 2 or top rated seller. Okay. Level 2 is, you've been around for a while. It means they've completed, as it says right here, 50 orders on time with a minimum 4.8 rating, whereas level 1, 10 orders on time with a 4.8 rating. And you can just have a little bit more assurance, and you can sleep better at night when you hire someone level 2 or top seller. Top rated seller means someone with at least 100 orders, minimum 4.8 rating, and these guys are manually hand-picked by Fiverr. So this is sort of the creme de la creme. Okay, we've also got Pro, which is a new feature on Fiverr. Okay, where as you can see right there, it says only 1% make it to that level. However, you're going straight to Upwork level pricing there. I mean, these people are going to be pretty expensive, which is fine. Okay, but if you're on a budget, let's just take this one for example. Make professional website with responsive design. We need a website built. We need somebody who we know has built lots of websites. Okay, and we need it done relatively cheap. This guy has a full 5-star rating and has built apparently 567 websites, or accomplished, that number of gigs. All right. As you can see, we've got a bunch of different options here, including the number of pages that are done. Basic SEO are done in the standard and premium package. Let's see, pop-ups on this one here. He'll install e-commerce on the premium one. So even the most expensive one here, which includes a lot of awesome stuff, is pretty cheap. That's $300 for a pretty robust and substantial website. Let's have a look at the portfolio. This is his portfolio of work that he's done. Okay, so these look like pretty solid websites. He's got a solid portfolio of good-looking websites, and you can get the max package with all the goodness in it for $300, for $295 right there. Now, the way that this works is you're literally hiring people directly. You're not posting a job here. Although you can post sort of a job/inquiry/request and have multiple people respond to it. There is an option for that. Generally speaking, the way Fiverr works is you reach out, and it's just like a marketplace, just like Amazon. You're looking at products and looking at the ratings for those products on Amazon. Here, you're looking at gigs and individual workers, okay, vendors, and you're looking at their ratings, okay, for past work, and you're choosing them, okay, not the other way around. You're not posting like you would on Upwork and then having other people come and apply to work with you. All right, so that's how Fiverr.com works, and it's a great way to save some money, get some work done. And obviously the other thing that we talked about was Upwork, where you actually post a job with all the specifics, and then you're going to be sifting through applications to pick the best qualified person. And again, Upwork is perceived as being a little bit higher end, higher quality. So by now we've talked about full-time permanent team members, and then we just talked about freelance project-based freelancers. So now it's time to move on to talk about how to actually manage those people, manage tasks, manage projects, collaborate with them, and make sure work is getting done well once you've got them on your team working for you, either as freelancers or permanent team members.
All right, welcome to Module 3. In this module, our expert will teach you about managing your virtual team. So get ready to take some notes, and let's jump right in.
All right, so once you've got your freelancers or your permanent team members on board and ready for work, you're going to need to manage them. Keep in mind you're working with human beings who are just like you, just like me. They procrastinate, they need help, they need a little nudge every now and then. So working with people and managing them and staying on top of them is absolutely critical. And you need to make sure you're doing that the best way possible to get the best bang for your buck. Otherwise, there's no reason to be outsourcing to people. You might as well just do it all yourself and keep all that weight on your shoulders, right? So if you're going to do it right. Now, there's a lot of different options out there for managing teams, managing tasks, managing workflows, right? And just getting work done. Asana is very popular. Productive was very popular, right? There's a ton of great ones out there. However, the most simple and easy to use one that we have encountered is Trello. Trello is fantastic, and that's what we're going to go over here. Now, there's a lot of different task management softwares out there. Like I said, the principles will remain more or less the same. Okay, the only thing really super unique about Trello is the layout. The layout is so user-friendly and collaboration-friendly. Trello works with boards. This is an example board here. And then it's broken down into lists, right? We have lists here. And then it's broken down into cards, which are the actual task cards. Within those cards, you can drill even deeper for different collaboration and details and descriptions and stuff. But this is a great way. Now, you don't need to arrange it, but what we recommend is aligning things or arranging things in a left to right, beginning to end manner, and then have your team move those cards to where they need to be accordingly. So at the very start, we have the to-do list, the tasks that need to get done. Then we've got working on it now. So when the assigned person is able to work on that, they place it in here, and we know that that's being worked on. Need assistance. This is where you drag and drop a card if there's a task that you can't finish and you need someone else to help you out with it. And then you would go into the card itself and add some comments, which we'll look at shortly. Awaiting approval. Okay, if you've got things, workflows, processes that include a final QC, that require a final thumbs up before you go ahead with them, right here in this list. And then finally, done, where you keep a log of all the tasks that have been finished. Now, the great thing about Trello is it's all real time. So your team, all the way on the other side of the world, in the Philippines, let's say, or you got some folks in India, you got some folks in Germany, as they move these things around, okay? Let's say Bob discussing pricing with Randy, okay? Bob's tracking down that task. So Bob comes over here and he drops it in the working on it now task, or the working on it now list. Okay, and once he's done, he's going to drop it right here. And you'll see that happen the very second that he does it on the other side of the planet. It'll actually be happening right here from your dashboard. So you can just keep tabs on what your team is doing and whether or not they're doing what they need to be doing, whether they need help, assistance, QCs, that sort of thing. And you have a hugely beneficial big picture overview of what's happening in your company. So this is a great way to do project management. As I said, you can also drill down into the cards and look for more details and comments. So let's say, for example, the person who is handling building linking funnel pages in JVZoo. They run into an issue, so they put it into the need assistance list. Come over here and it says, need clarification on which listing is upsell 1 versus upsell 2. Okay, because we gave them a description based on an earlier discussion. However, they need more clarification. Does that kind of make sense? Then there's assigning. You can actually, while you're typing out these cards, assign them to a specific person. This one is obviously assigned to a specific person. Some of these other ones are just up for grabs. Okay, so you need to know that your team either knows how to determine who can complete what tasks, and maybe approach it in sort of a free-for-all manner, or you need to be assigning specific tasks so everybody knows what they need to be doing at any given time, and you know who to go to when you're checking on how that task is going. But that's a basic project management or task management workflow that you can use. Now, the great thing about Trello is it's all modular. You don't have to use this chronological left to right thing. You can have one board with all your different departments, okay? So you've got the front end designers for web pages. Then you've got the back end web developers, and you put certain tasks into the web developer one, and you put certain tasks into the designer one, right? You've got another one for copywriters, and you put a task into the copywriting one. And then they know, based on their workflow, that once they're done typing, they move that card into the web design one. And they say, hey, the copywriting is done. It's in this document. Please take it and incorporate it into the design of the sales page, right? So you could set it up that way if you wanted to. You can set it up however you want, and that's what makes Trello so great. Now, there is one thing that I want to say about collaboration and managing your team before we end this video, and that is, at all costs, avoid using email. Email is the worst thing in the world for collaborating with people. If you need to actually be talking back and forth textually with your team, it's highly recommended that you use Slack. Slack is fantastic. Slack is basically a giant chat room with a ton of different channels, okay? And instead of people having to track down old emails that were sent out, a week ago or 2 months ago, or sift through, a million different emails that are irrelevant to get to their work-related emails. It's just a complete pain. With Slack, everything's just in one place. All right, with Slack, you've got these little chat rooms with channels. Okay, and there's a ton of different cool abilities as well. But basically, you're just keeping all of your work stuff in one area, one platform for all work discussion. If you're managing your team right and using a tool like this, you should never have to touch email when it comes to communicating with your staff. All right, you can have channels that are open to the public. You can have direct channels between just you and one particular worker. All right, you can have goof-off channels where people just go in there and post, GIFs and say hello to each other. I mean, Slack is absolutely fantastic. It's the best thing out there for collaboration, and it's free. It's absolutely free, which is, it sort of makes it a no-brainer. So definitely avoid email, whatever you do, and use an application like Slack for all of your work communication, to just keep it all consolidated into one place for your entire team. That would be my last parting piece of advice when it comes to managing and collaborating with and overseeing your team.
Hello and welcome to this course on lead generation. In this course, we're going to cover how to collect leads and build your list. This course is divided into 3 modules. Module 1 covers lead magnets. Module 2 covers landing page design. And Module 3 covers traffic and optimization. By the time this course is over, you'll know how to effectively launch lead generation campaigns and create massive growth for your business. So, without further ado, let's dive into the first module. Okay guys, welcome to Module 1. In this module, our expert will be teaching you about lead magnets and how to create the best ones for your business. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Okay guys, so in this lesson we're going to go over the different types of lead magnets you can use for lead generation. So I'm going to walk through some examples of possible lead magnets, and then we're going to go create our own little example for this course. So starting at the least expensive end of the spectrum, as some might say, we have a little PDF report. These are really common, and I'm sure you've seen about 1 million of them online. If you're on a tight budget or a tight schedule, these are a great way to deliver a little bit of value in return for some opt-ins. Here we have another PDF guide or ebook, and the great thing about these is that you can literally outsource the content writing to a freelancer or license pre-written materials elsewhere if you just can't be bothered to make your own from scratch. One downside of the old ebook/PDF model, of course, is that they have low perceived value, which can sometimes mean lower opt-in rates and less excited prospects. The next step up could be something like a video course. Here we see a bundle of 2 video courses being offered as a lead magnet. For a lot of people, this will have more perceived value than a PDF file. So if there's a simple way for you to obtain or create video content, or even repurpose your textual content into video form, that might help raise your perceived value. Moving even further in that direction, we have a full membership, an academy with a ton of video lessons and courses. As you can imagine, this will be seen as pretty valuable for a free lead magnet. And finally, here we have sort of a bundle, 3 video courses plus a membership. This is really pushing the perceived value of a lead magnet to the max. So let's go ahead and start crafting our own lead magnet. Now, obviously, this lesson isn't going to teach you how to create the actual content. That's something you or your company have to do. So I'm not going to show you how to write a book. What we are going to do is assume that you've already created the content itself, either by you or outsourcing it to someone or acquiring it and licensing it, and we're going to package it into an attractive lead magnet. So let's come on over here to myecovermaker.com. And let's say we want to offer a guide on do-it-yourself home improvement. So let's choose one of the tablet options way down here. That's always a cool way to represent an ebook or a PDF guide. And let's set our background on this to black. Let's stick a little title in here, maybe DIY Home Repair Guide. Let's resize that a little bit and move it around. Okay, and now we need a compelling image. So let's come over here and let's type in construction. This will give us a ton of results to choose from. And let's go with this one right here. We'll bring that into our eCover and reposition it a little bit. Once we're happy with the way it looks, we'll hit Finalize, and we'll give it a few moments to render that for us. All right, not bad. So we've got an attractive lead magnet created here, and the next step is going to be to present it in an attractive way on an actual landing page, which is what we'll cover in the next lesson.
Hey folks, welcome to Module 2. In this module, our expert will be showing you how to design your landing page. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
All right, so here we are. We're going to create our actual landing page. Now, these are sometimes referred to as lead pages, landing pages, opt-in pages, sign-up pages, squeeze pages. They're called a whole lot of things. We're going to be using Instapage for this process, but the principles apply to any landing page software, and the process will be more or less the same regardless of which one you choose. So we'll start by choosing a template. Your best bet is to keep things pretty minimalist as possible to encourage opt-ins. So we're looking for something with a headline, maybe a subheadline, and of course a form. That's pretty much it. Now this one down here with a picture of a house looks pretty good, and it seems to fit our topic pretty well, which is home repair, if you'll recall. Let's go with this one. So inside the editor here, I'm going to start by deleting all the extra parts that we don't need. Now let's get to work changing the copy. Let's say, finally master the art of DIY home improvement and repair. That sounds good to me. Let's move that up a little bit, and we're going to want some space to insert our e-cover from the previous lesson right below that. Once that e-cover is in there, we'll change the button text. I think get the guide should be good. And voila, that's pretty much it. Our page is looking pretty good. Before we finish though, we'll want to connect it to our autoresponder software, so we can actually start building our email list. Once that's done, our page is ready to start handling some traffic, which is what we'll be covering in the next lesson.
All right, welcome to Module 3. In this module, our expert will teach you about traffic methods and optimizing your lead generation campaign. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
All right, guys, so we're just going to briefly touch on two of the most common traffic sources, namely Google and Facebook ads, and then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of analyzing and optimizing your campaign performance. So first off, Facebook ads are obviously a very well-known form of advertising, and they're regularly used by companies for lead generation. There's a variety of formats to choose from, many of which you've probably seen yourself from a consumer perspective many times. There's photo or image ads. There's video ads. There's carousel ads that contain multiple images or videos. There's slideshow ads, collection ads, which can be used to showcase multiple products, and even messenger ads, which are getting super popular these days. The key word to keep in mind here is native. This is what has made Facebook ads so effective. They found a way to make your ads look and feel as though they're just part of the organic Facebook experience. They look and feel more or less like personal posts, like things that belong on Facebook, hence the word native. Now, right up there with Facebook is Google AdWords, and the cornerstone of AdWords is their search ads. How would you like to put your ads right in front of people at the exact moment they're actually actively searching for your solution? Yep, that's what you're doing here. You're essentially paying to have your search result placed right at the top of Google's results pages. These are incredibly powerful ads, and a great way to drive traffic. Once you've got that traffic coming in, though, you need to be able to gauge and understand your lead page's performance. So let's talk about how to do that. Here we've got an analytics page inside of our landing page software. We're able to monitor all the basic info we'd want to know about our page, like how many visitors are we getting? How many of those visitors are opting in and becoming leads? What's the conversion rate? What's the performance look like over time or on certain days? Are there any trends? So for this one, we've got a great conversion rate. We've had 281 visitors who have come to the page, and out of that, 177 have opted in through that opt-in form, which gives us a whopping conversion rate of 63%. 63%. That's 63% of visitors who come to the page and opt in and join our list. That's fantastic. This is important data because it makes our advertising campaigns predictable. When we're determining how much money to spend on driving traffic, we've got an approximate idea of how many leads each dollar of ad spend will get us, which is hugely beneficial when running campaigns. This data is especially useful down here if you're split testing multiple landing pages. Let me show you what I mean. Have a look at this golfing lead page. And now, have a look at this one. See? They're almost exactly the same. You can run the same amount of traffic to each page and then use those stats we were just looking at to determine which one converts better. And believe it or not, a simple change of the background image or even words in the headline or the color of a button can cause a huge difference in performance. Split testing things like that can save you a ton on advertising. Here's an example of a lead page with a 3-way split test, where the only thing that changed was the background image. Have a look at the difference here. Now, even the lowest performing page still has a pretty respectable conversion rate here. But goodness, look at the top performing variation, almost 80%. What we can do at this point is just start funneling most or even all of our traffic to that variation since we know it's performing great. And we're going to be getting better bang for our advertising buck. And now we know of a certain element, in this case a background image, that appears to encourage high conversions, which might come in handy for future lead pages and even sales pages. So that's it, guys. We've successfully gone through the whole process of setting up and optimizing a lead generation apparatus.
Hello, and welcome to this course on newsfeed advertising. In this course, we're going to cover how to drive targeted traffic from Facebook with native ads. This course is divided into 3 modules. Module 1 covers marketing objectives. Module 2 covers audience, ad placement, and budgets. And Module 3 covers creating the actual ad itself. By the time this course is over, you'll know how to effectively create and launch Facebook ad campaigns for your business. So without further ado, let's dive into the first module. Okay guys, welcome to Module 1. In this module, our expert will be teaching you about the various marketing objectives and how to choose the best ones for your business. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Alright, welcome to Module 1, where we'll be going over ad objectives. First thing you'll want to do is come up to Business Manager, All Tools, and Ads Manager. Next, we'll click on the Create button. This will bring us to the Marketing Objective. Now, a lot of people like to just dive in here because they're excited about getting their ad campaign running, and they go with traffic, because traffic sounds like it has broad application. However, that's a huge mistake. You really need to sit down, think about your marketing objectives and goals, and choose the correct marketing objective before moving forward with your ad campaign. Let's go through some of the more common ones. Brand awareness is basically about getting your product or your service, or your brand identity more specifically, in front of as many people as possible within your niche or your desired audience. Reach, on the other hand, is similar, but it's not going for a certain type of people or type of demographic. So reach would be primarily for products with broad appeal. If you're starting, for example, a vacuum cleaner company or a bottled water company, that applies to everyone, and so reach might be a smart decision in that case. However, if you're selling industrial copiers or fax machines or something like that, obviously your desired audience is a little more unique, and so you'll want to go with brand awareness. The next objective category is consideration. The first of these is traffic. This is probably the most common one that people think of. Driving traffic from Facebook over to your web properties, whether it be a lead page, a sales page, your website, or some content. Now, there's a few different types of consideration besides traffic that a lot of people don't think about too often. Engagement is designed to get exactly that, engagement. Likes, follows, shares on your actual Facebook content. App installs, if you're in the mobile app industry, is also an option underneath the consideration category. Video views for video content. If your business is video content heavy or video content centric, or if you have viral content that you're hoping is going to increase the reach of your brand, then video views is a good objective to choose. Lead generation. This actually allows you to create lead capture Facebook ads, Facebook lead ads within the newsfeed that don't even require people to leave Facebook. And this is a very powerful, relatively new tool. Messages are another awesome approach, and probably the newest big trend in Facebook marketing in recent months. With these, you can actually get conversations started with prospects and potential customers inside of Facebook Messenger and actually leverage Facebook Messenger as a marketing and sales platform. Next, there's conversion. This category is probably what you want to look into if you're really looking for bottom line revenue generation, sales, if you're doing conversion rate optimization, if you're driving traffic through funnels and you're trying to create a self-liquidating offer, that type of thing. Conversions are different from just general traffic because you're driving specific types of actions inside of your web properties or across multiple pages of web properties, and Facebook will actually tweak and affect your ad performance based on these goals, and with the help of conversion tracking, which is also provided by Facebook. Next, there's catalog sales. Now, these ads will automatically show items from your e-commerce store. So if you have a Shopify store or a WooCommerce store or something like that, you can actually have your target audience see your ads for specific products from your store with minimal manual work on your part. This is a great opportunity if you're running an e-commerce store and you want to drive leads and potential sales from Facebook. And finally, there's store visits, which basically means foot traffic. Not digital, but foot traffic, trying to get Facebook users who are somewhere local to you to come into your actual place of business. So there's a lot of excellent marketing objectives here. Facebook has done an excellent job over the last few years of tweaking the way that it lays out its marketing objectives and adapting its ads to your objectives to help you get the best performance and the best results for every dollar you spend on your Facebook advertising campaigns. So to keep things as broad as possible, we're going to go with traffic for this example. We'll make our campaign name Traffic 01. We'll hit continue, and we'll move on to targeting in the next module.
Hey folks, welcome to Module 2. In this module, our expert will be covering audience targeting, ad placement, and budgeting. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
All right, welcome to Module 2, where we're going to be going over traffic, placement, and budget. So prior to getting to this point, obviously you will need to have done some market or audience research. You need to have an avatar of the ideal customer or prospect that you want to go after with your Facebook ads. So for this example, let's say we are creating a new sports drink and we want to get our new sports drink in front of people in the fitness niche. For locations, you can get very creative here. If we wanted to, we could just leave it broadly at the United States, but let's go ahead and go with one specific city. Once you choose a city, you can actually go with a radius around that city. Now, for our purposes, let's just say we're trying to sell our sports drink to anyone in the United States, so we'll choose the United States as a whole. Now, I haven't studied up on the fitness niche, but let's say that we did and that our research indicated that ages 21 to 44 were the most active buyers of sports drinks within our audience. Next, gender, we could choose one of these. We'll set it to all. Languages, not really a factor here, but if you wanted to, you could choose specific languages. And then for detailed targeting, we can actually dive even deeper and make sure we're hitting the right people. Let's just type in the word fitness and see what happens. So Facebook is already giving us a whole lot of suggested interests, behaviors, and even employers and job titles that we can choose here. Fitness consultants might be interested in our sports drink, so we could choose that. Physical fitness as a general interest has a huge following, 311 million. That might actually be a little too broad. So let's go with men's fitness, a little bit more narrow. And while we're at it, let's see what we get with women's fitness. In this case, as you can see, we have behaviors and interests to choose from. We can actually go with women's fashion and apparel buyers, women's apparel, women's fitness plans, but the real golden nugget in this list of suggested targeting is going to be Women's Health and Fitness magazine. Women who have been identified by Facebook as having interest in this magazine are a very powerful market to go after for a fitness product. It's not just someone who at some point in the past liked a page that had something to do with fitness. This is a specific brand, an actual magazine that exists, and we can imagine that the people who are listed by Facebook as being interested in it might even be subscribers to the magazine, or at least dedicated followers on social media. So let's say that we're good with this set of targeting right here. Let's say we want to narrow it even further. Let's say 3,500,000 is a little too big of a reach for us on our first ad run, for whatever reason. Let's go to narrow, and we'll type in another interest. Let's try gym and fitness clubs. Now, when we chose that, our audience shrunk to 150,000 people. And that's because Facebook uses AND logic instead of OR logic between these two boxes here. We're narrowing. So in this case, anybody who wants to be in our audience must be a part of this audience and any of these three, rather than this one or this one or this one or this one. That's what narrowing does. It's very powerful. In this case, we actually narrowed our audience a little bit too much. So we can click X to remove that AND logic, and we'll proceed forward with our 3.5 million people potential reach. Moving on to placements. It's becoming more and more recommended to choose automatic placements because Facebook, as a platform, is very smart. It knows what's going to get you the best results most of the time. If you wanted to come in here and manually choose your placements, let's say you have an actual practical reason for only wanting people on mobile, or only wanting your ad to show up in the newsfeed instead of the sidebar, or only wanting your ad on Instagram, you could certainly come through here and mark each of these. You might have a reason for this having to do with your audience research. Perhaps you learned that the most active purchasers of sports drinks make their purchases on mobile phones. Now, that doesn't sound very likely, but just as an example, you might have a good reason for doing this. However, for starters, you might want to let Facebook do the heavy lifting here and go with automatic placements. And after you've run your first one or two campaigns, then you can look back and see which placements performed best, and then start manually choosing those in the future. In this case, you're taking the risk out and letting Facebook do all the hard work on your first couple of campaigns, and you can use that data later on to make your ads perform even more efficiently. So let's move on to budget. Now, budget is an incredibly important factor of your campaign to get right because it will significantly affect the performance of your campaign. Now, the first decision to make is daily versus lifetime. If you were to go with a lifetime budget, you'd basically be setting a max amount to be spent during a specific period of time for your ad campaign. If you're going with an evergreen approach, meaning your offer isn't going to expire or you're not working with a hard launch period, daily budget might be best. And basically you'll be deciding how much you want to spend per week in this case. Now, let's move to run my ad set continuously starting today. You'll see in this case, you'll spend no more than $140 per week, but the daily amount will vary. Facebook will simply make sure that the average across each week is approximately $20. But you might spend a little more than that or a little less than that per day. If you choose a start and end date, however, Facebook will automatically calculate the total amount that you will have spent by the end of that ad campaign. So again, it comes down to whether you're working with a hard launch or an expiring offer, or an actual evergreen offer that doesn't expire. Next up, let's talk about optimization for the ad delivery. This is very cool and very important. Facebook has recently wised up to the fact that a lot of clicks that people pay for don't actually turn into real website views. So let's read through this really quick just so we understand. Facebook allows you to optimize now for landing page views to find more people in your target audience who will click on your ad and listen to this, and wait for the landing page to load. Facebook is actually tracking, with the help of conversion pixels and so on, the performance and the behavior of people after they click from Facebook and go off to the millions and millions of landing pages out there. And they know, with their algorithms and with their data, what type of people are more likely to click on a landing page that's relevant to them and wait for it to load, and what type of people are more likely to click once and instantly bounce because they're not willing to wait for the page to load, which is a surprisingly large amount of people. So let's say we're going for clicks to landing pages instead of just general broad clicks. Now, other options here would have been impressions, which basically you're just paying for how many people are going to actually see your ad in their newsfeed or pop up in their sidebar and so on. Or daily unique reach, which basically sets a maximum for people to see your ads once per day. Now, we'll stick with landing page views for the purpose of this example. Bid amount. So this should be left to automatic, especially if you're new to Facebook ads. You're letting Facebook do the heavy lifting once again, just as we are with placements, and they will figure out what the most optimum bid strategy is. Don't worry about choosing this and thinking that Facebook is going to rip you off and make you pay more than you should be for your ads. Facebook knows that the better performance and better bang you get for your buck, the more likely you will be to continue giving them more money. So they will make sure that your ads work as good as possible. Now, if you wanted to go the manual route, you'd actually have to choose your bid amount and set it per landing page view. Again, that's an actual view, not just a click. If you've been doing this for a while and you know your numbers really well, let's say you've got a sales funnel in place, a lead generation and a sales funnel, and you've already calculated the lifetime value of every customer and the potential value of each lead, and you've got an idea of how much you're willing to spend per landing page view in order to acquire a lead, and know full well that you'll break even or come out with a profit based on a certain bid amount, well then go ahead by all means and go with manual. However, if you don't have all of that data already set up, if you haven't done all the math already, and if you're new to Facebook ads, highly recommend you go with automatic and let Facebook do all of that mathematical and algorithmic heavy lifting for you. Now, with the landing page views optimization option, we will get charged for impressions, and that is set as the default. However, if you were to choose a different option, you'd see a more options link here, and you'd be able to choose things like certain actions, such as clicking a link, or if this was a Facebook lead ad we were setting up, it would be for every time someone actually enters their email address and becomes a lead. Now, we don't have ad scheduling chosen here because we have our daily budget set. If we had set this to lifetime budget, then we'd be able to manipulate our actual ad scheduling. Delivery type, it's set to standard right now, which means show your ads throughout the day on your selected schedule. However, if we wanted to, we could go with the accelerated option if we had manual bids going on, and that means the emphasis is put on the speed at which your ads are shown to as many people as possible. So that covers this module. We went over traffic targeting, ad placements, and budget and schedule. Now we're going to move on to creating our actual ad creative.
Hey folks, welcome to Module 2. In this module, our expert will be covering audience targeting, ad placement, and budgeting. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in. Alright, welcome to Module 3. In this module, our expert will teach you about how to create the actual ad itself. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Alright guys, so here we are on the ads creative page. Okay, now the creative refers to literally the ad image or media plus the text. Okay, the actual thing that's going to be seen by your prospects. And the options for the ad creative have exploded in the last few years. As you can see, there's a whole lot of different things that you can do. In fact, most recently, you can turn images into video. So there's always something new here, and by the time you see this video, there's probably going to be some pretty cool new stuff as well. Now, let's go through each of the different formats really quickly. So carousel, you can have multiple images or videos now, okay, that scroll from left to right that people can go through. And here's a little preview, okay, of different placements and views And as you can see, that in and of itself has become pretty expanded. There's a ton of places people can see your ads. Okay, but if you were looking at it on your desktop newsfeed, that's what a carousel would look like. You're just going through photos or videos, right? And on mobile, it would look like that. So, next option here, single image. This is the oldest, the oldie but goodie. Still, in my opinion, one of the most powerful ones. Most people should just be using this for the sake of simplicity, and that's what we'll be doing as well. Unless you're running an e-commerce store or something, in which case, collection might be relevant. We'll get to that in a moment. Or video, of course, is also extremely, extremely powerful as well. Image or video, one of these two is what the vast majority of you will end up using. So a single image, very basic. The image is not the ad. That's very important. A lot of people come in here and they think they're going to make an image and they're going to have a bunch of text in the image, trying to convey their message. That's not how it works. In fact, your reach can actually go down considerably if you have too much text in your image. Okay, they got rid of the old rule where your ad would be disapproved if it included more than 20% text, which was kind of hard to map out. You used to have to use a little ruler and make sure you would see little quadrants or sections, and it would tell you if your text took up more than 20% of your ad. But now, instead of disapproving, it just affects your reach, which is not good. You want to make sure you maximize your reach. So the image is not the ad. It's very important. You want a compelling image that makes people stop and look, and then the ad is in the copy. Okay, it's in the text. All right, I see a lot of people trying to do Facebook ads, and the text is almost nothing. It's a couple of lines, and then the ad is right there, and they try to squeeze just as much text as possible, but stay within 20%. And that's just not how Facebook ads work. That's not good practice for Facebook ads. Okay, so we'll probably end up using this for our example today. But first, let's go on to single video. Okay, basic video ad. All right. It says recommended length up to 15 seconds. You can go longer. Okay, but if you want the max reach and retainability, retaining people's eyeballs on your video, then 15 seconds, up to 15 seconds is good. They're recommending short messages, short but sweet messages that get people to take action, right? And also having the shorter length increases the chances that it will be able to show up on placements, other placements as well. So for Facebook, 240 minutes max is pretty long. But for Instagram, you'll see here, that's pretty short, 120 seconds. Okay, so you're limited there to just 2 minutes long, or it won't be able to show up on Instagram if you chose that as a placement. Rewarded video is the final one where you have actual restrictions on placement, and that's 30 to 60 seconds. So if you're interested in these placements, you want to try and make it as short as possible. If not, then hey, go for it. 240 minutes. Why not, right? The next option here is a slideshow. Okay, it's basically a video ad that loops through a bunch of images. Okay, you can show 3 to 10 images in a video up to 15 seconds long, and that's pretty cool. Okay, I see a lot of those. Collection is usually, a lot of people could potentially use this, but usually collection is e-commerce. Okay, where you have a collection of multiple physical products in a series or a line of products, and you want to showcase those, then you could use collect. So we're going to go with single image for our ad. And we're going to scroll on down, and we're going to have to choose an image. Now, you can choose free stock images from right here within Facebook, which is pretty sweet. So we're going to say we are offering phone closing or phone sales services. All right, so let's go ahead and type in a phone and see what that brings us. There we go. Dude on a phone. That's pretty much all we need. Okay? It's a good looking stock image, and that's really all we need. So let's come on over here to text. I'm going to paste in some copy. Now this copy, you'll notice, is long, and it's supposed to be long. In fact, it can be much longer than this. Okay, this is kind of short as copy goes among the those in the know about how Facebook ads should work. Okay, now this takes people through basically a content piece almost. This is kind of like a mini blog post. And fix some typos here. And it basically takes people through a long, drawn-out explanation of why they should be interested in what we're offering, okay? This whole diatribe here is about sales versus closing, okay, and how selling and the traditional concept of sales needs to stop. All the old sales tricks need to stop. And a more thoughtful approach called closing is what you need to be using on the phone and in your business, okay? And basically at the very end, there is a call to action. Click Learn More to grab our free guide on high ticket closing. And of course that brings them as a lead into our system. You know, we're still fantasizing here, at which point we can offer them afterwards our phone closing services, right? Let's come on over here. Say https closingdoneright.com, which is not a real URL, or maybe it is a URL for all I know, but I just made that up on the spot. Headline is going to be stop selling, start closing, which sounds a little bit odd. Your average person who isn't interested or isn't aware of the distinction there will stop and say, wait, what are they talking about? Stop selling, start closing, okay? And call to action, learn more works for us since we actually mentioned that in our copy, but you've got a bunch of different options here. Apply now, book now for calls. You can go with no button at all if you'd like. Contact us, donate now, download, get offer, get quote. Lots of different ones that might be applicable to your ad. And that's more or less it. We could actually move forward with this as is. There are some other options if you wanted to actually show the website, the web address on the ad down here. You could actually put that here. Okay, so we could grab closing done right, display that here, and then people would then be able to see that in the ad. And we could put a description, which is kind of like a small version of the copy, just sort of a preview of what we're talking about here. Right there. Okay, and it's just another chunk of text to get people more interested in your ad. That is more or less it. We've got our ad copy, we've got our ad image, we've got all the details down here set up, we've got linking to our website, and let's have a look at what this looks like in all the different placements. So this is mobile newsfeed, not bad. Of course the watermarks will be removed once the ad is published. And this is desktop newsfeed, instant articles, right column, mobile marketplace, Facebook stories, your Instagram feed, Instagram stories, audience network medium rectangle, audience network native, more audience network, and of course, we have the Messenger inbox, which is a more recent development. But speaking of recent developments, Facebook's audience network is indeed growing, and that's why we have so many new placements based on where, on what devices, and where around the web your ads can be seen via their network. So that's pretty much it. This is the end of the road for us. We just hit confirm, and our ad is going to be live.
Hello and welcome to this course on e-learning. In this course, we're going to cover how to incorporate e-learning, which is one of the hottest growing industries, into your business. This course is divided into 3 modules. Module 1 covers recording video lessons. Module 2 covers uploading and creating your course. And Module 3 covers monetizing and managing your courses. By the time this course is over, you'll know how to leverage e-learning to empower your customers, as well as generate leads and revenue for your business. So without further ado, let's dive into the first module. Okay guys, welcome to Module 1. In this module, our expert will be teaching you about recording your video lessons. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Alright guys, so in this lesson, which will be a pretty quick one, we're just going to go over some of the basic ways of recording video content for your e-learning product. Most of these you're already familiar with, that's why this is going to be a pretty quick lesson. However, I want to cover 3 specific ones. Number 1 is basically just a PowerPoint presentation. Now a PowerPoint presentation is easy enough to set up, most of you have set that up many times. The question is, how do you turn it into a video? And there's 2 options. Option number 1 would be to have a script that you read through carefully in a well-presented manner and record that prior to trying to make the video. So you just record the audio. And once you've got the audio recorded, you then import that audio right here into your slide and you set it to, if you go to playback, to hide during the show, play across slides, and probably start automatically is best on your first or one of your first slides. And then you would go through rehearsed timings and just go through the entire slideshow and click through the presentation in synchronization with the audio that you're listening to. And then once you save that, when you export this to MP4, it'll be synchronized. The other option, if you're good at delivering things off the cuff, would be to forego recording your audio beforehand and just record it during an actual recording of the slideshow. So once your slideshow is all set up, just hit record slideshow, and you're going to go through the entire thing, click through it, narrating in real time, and it'll record your narration, and that will be your finished MP4 when you export. One quick tip, though, is get yourself on camera, okay? Even if you don't like being on video, at a minimum, for the sake of your personal brand, have a picture of you on the first slide, at least when you're saying, hey folks, this is so-and-so, and in today's lesson we're going to discuss. During that portion, that intro portion, it's a good idea to actually have yourself in the video at the beginning for the sake of your personal brand. Not a must, but a good idea, okay? Finally, once you've done one of those 2 options, either importing an audio file that you recorded beforehand or recording it in real time, you're going to come over here to File, you're going to Export, and you're going to export it as a video, MP4 at 1080p. That's the best way to do it. So that is the PowerPoint side of things. Now, let's have a look at screen capture, screen recording. Now you can use various types of screen recording software. Probably the coolest one out there is, well, I shouldn't say that. There's many very, very cool ones. But one of the popular ones is OBS because of all the settings that you can adjust. Okay, and OBS, basically you would come into your recording center here, you would come over to Source, and audio is usually set up automatically, but you want to right click, add a new source, and that source should be display capture right there. Hit OK, and as you can see, here I'll move a window around, and there you can see our screen right there on screen being moved around. Let's go ahead and pull that back up so we can actually see what's going on. And there's a couple different settings that you can choose from. You can have it capture your entire screen, or you can have it focus on just one window. So definitely play around with that. But you've seen these 1,000 times. These are the over-the-shoulder tutorial style videos, kind of like we're recording right now. And you're just walking through a process and making sure that the important parts are captured right there on your screen. So let me go ahead and close this out before it interferes with my current video capturing software, which is Screencast-O-Matic, which is basically the exact same thing. Close this, and let's come back over to my browser to talk about the final of the 3 ways that you can record your content, and that is on-screen talking head video of you, and guess what? You don't need to have a studio-grade camera with a green screen and all that stuff. Nowadays, if you look at the average smartphone, and I've got, let's see, Google's Pixel, I've got Samsung Galaxy S9, and I've got iPhone 10 pulled up here. And what you'll notice is 12 megapixel camera. 12 megapixel camera. Where is it over here? I'm sure I saw it. Oh yeah, there you go. 12 megapixel camera. All of these record video in at least 1080p HD at a pretty nice frame rate. But I think most of them now do 4K recording. So there's no need for you to go out and spend money on a super high-tech camera. And there's also no need these days. I mean, video content in general, the trending thing is for it to become a little bit more casual. Literally just you at your table, like this gal, in her living room with her house behind her, doing a video. That's the trending thing these days. So don't feel like you have to go out there and break the bank on all sorts of studio equipment and green screens and special stuff and lighting. I mean, lighting is probably the one thing that you should invest in a little bit. But don't go crazy, because videos are getting easier to make on screen, your talking head style videos are more easy to make, less expensive to make, and the trend these days is casual. That's what appeals to most audiences today, and you can just do that with your smartphone right there. Go buy a small little tripod to put on your desk, and or even, even a selfie stick would probably pass these days, although maybe not for a high-end e-learning environment. But that's it, guys. That's the 3 ways that you can easily record content for your e-learning course.
Hey folks, welcome to Module 2. In this module, our expert will be covering uploading and creating your course. So get ready to take some notes, and let's jump right in.
We're going to use a membership platform or an online course platform called Everlesson. And we're just going to start here from the dashboard. By the way, we're pretending that we are teaching people how to play the fiddle. Okay, that's a personal hobby of mine. Not very good at it, but I do enjoy learning it. And we'll just say for the sake of example that that's what we're teaching. Remember, you teach whatever you're passionate about or whatever you feel qualified to teach. Let's go ahead and click Create Membership here from the dashboard. And I'll call my membership, we'll just call it Fiddler. Oops, let me get caps lock off there. Fiddler Membership. And over here, we'll call this fiddle.memberportal.io. Well, we'll call it Fiddler Membership. That's the URL that we utilize there for Everlesson. Membership title. Now, the membership name is just for our purposes, for keeping things organized from an administrative perspective. Actually, let me go ahead and make this a 1. And membership title, that's what the customer sees, is going to be, let's call it Fiddler to the Max, okay? Membership description, we'll say, we teach all things fiddle, from beginner to can find the training you need here. Now that applies to the membership, okay? It's not necessarily the course. In our case for today, we're just going to go through the motions of creating a beginner course with 3 lessons, okay? And that course will be part of this membership, and it may very well be the only part of this membership. Let's go to membership image, and I've already got a couple selected here. Let's go with this image here of Antonio Vivaldi. And we'll go ahead and hit proceed. And here we can choose a cool theme. In my case, I like just the standard minimalist look here. So we're going to go with that one. If we had a logo, we could add a logo here, okay? Or we could disable it and just not have it there. I want you to know where the logo is going to go throughout this process when we see the example pages later, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that turned on, and just keep in mind this is where your actual logo would go anywhere that you see this from this point forward. I'm okay with the colors. I'm okay with the overall look and feel of it. If we wanted to, we could change this background image to let's grab our all-purpose violin image there. Of course, I did not put the correct size image there. It looks like we would actually want a larger resolution there. So let me go ahead and stick with our original image here from the library. Actually, let's grab something a little more, abstract. And let's go in here. And let's make sure I choose the correct, oh, you know what? I think I messed that up. Let's go over to background type, and this time we'll stretch. There we go, much better. So you can customize this to look however you want. We're going to go ahead and hit save here to save the look and feel of the theme. I'm going to come back to my dashboard, And here's our membership that we created. The name of it that the customer sees is Fiddler to the Max. And for our purposes, we're calling it Fiddler Membership. And let's go to Edit Membership. And we're going to start the wizard here. Let me actually delete that product. So it starts you off with a blank template product if you just want to go that route. We're going to go the easy route and start with a wizard. I'll build my course. And let's do new product. And here you have the option of going free, paid, or free plus paid combination. This is great for lead generation here. If you want to offer a free course, in fact, if I was going to offer a robust curriculum on how to play a violin, I would probably have the beginner course be a lead generation course, so something that they can get for free in return for their email address and maybe some other contact information. For our purposes, I think we're going to go with paid, and we'll go to the next step here, and let's see. We'll choose JVZoo. I like JVZoo. We won't talk too much about payment methods here. Most people will probably end up using something like PayPal or JVZoo, and that's pretty easy to set up. There's a lot of tutorials available to help you in setting that up as well. I'll go ahead and choose JVZoo, hit next step, set up your product. So we need a product for this membership. We're going to call this Beginner. We'll call it Fiddler for Beginners. Oops, see if I can spell. Probably want to be able to spell if you're going to do an online course. Let's see, description. In this course, we teach you the basics of playing the fiddle. And yeah, that's good there. I want it to look good when we get the finished product, but I don't feel like typing too much and making you listen to my keyboard. So let's come over here to Wikipedia, and I'm going to grab, this paragraph here. Stick that in there. And we could have, I'm going to disable the logo for this product. We could have another image here. I'm just going to go with the original violin image that we used. If you're looking for images to use with all this stuff, though, I would recommend stock.adobe.com. They've got some pretty good prices. On average, I think each image costs you maybe $1 or $2 or $3 a piece, depending on what plan you choose. So that's actually where I got that image there. So let's go ahead and hit next. Our product has been set up, and I don't actually need any categories. And here we have an option for what types of lessons, meaning what types of modules, lesson pages that your people will go through when they're going through the course. The most typical thing is going to be video lessons. We're going to put 3 of those there. You could put a free giveaway option here, and the free giveaway option could be something like a PDF of recommended resources, or something along those lines. We're just going to stick with the 3 video lessons, though. I'll hit next. Let's go ahead and type in our lesson name. Let's go with Lesson 1, Violin Basics. Lesson 2, we'll say, maybe Violin Holds. How to hold. I'm trying to look back and think of what I learned and in what order when I first started off. We'll say how to hold a violin. And for the last one, let's say first song. Lesson 3. Your first song. Next. And let's see, in this case, we're going to... Okay, so we've got descriptions here. Let's put this lesson will cover the parts of your violin and bow and how to use them. For lesson 2, we'll go with how to hold your violin and bow properly. And for lesson 3, we'll say finally ready for your first song. Mississippi. Oh, I hope I spelled that right. Stop. Stop. Alright. That's the first one I ever played anyway. Next step is to actually add our videos. Now, I actually went on YouTube for the sake of this and just found some videos that I like that have helped me learn the violin. Obviously, you can't actually do that. You have to have your own videos if you're going to charge money for them. So this is just something we're doing for the sake of example. Let's go to add new video here. And video title, just make that the same as the lesson title. Tags, violin, with YouTube video URL. And this is a good one here because it covers parts of the bow and violin. Grab that, stick that in there. So you can, as you can see, there's lots of options for where to host your videos online, where to upload them to. Either way, they'll look, the video player will be within your actual membership here. And this is just how we link to it and make sure that it shows up. Let's go ahead and hit submit. Okay, and for lesson 2, we want to grab let's do how to hold a violin, since that fits our description. So go to add new video. Stick that URL in there. Use the lesson name for the video title, which you don't have to do. But I'm doing it just to keep things simple. We'll hit submit. And for our last one here, let's go to add. And by the way, this is this tab that says Video Manager. That just refers to all the videos that we've uploaded to the membership. So later on, if we were to do this again, we'd be able to choose from these ones. So for the last one, let's say Mississippi Stop Stop here. Stick that there. Give it a title. Add that tag, hit submit, and we should be all set. Now let's go to next step. And from your perspective, not so much the customer's perspective, but from our perspective, we need everything organized by packages for transaction purposes. That's all the things, modules that they will get access to when they make a purchase via a certain buy button or page. And that's just how Everlesson organizes things for transaction purposes. So let's go ahead and call this one Fiddle 1. Well, we'll call it Beginner Fiddle Package. Alright. And for the package description, this amazing course teaches beginners everything they need to get started with the violin. Alright, and for page or package contents, we'll go ahead and say lesson 1, intro to violin parts. Lesson 2. What was lesson 2? Oh yeah, violin and bow holds. Lesson 3. Your first song. And just to make sure it looks good on whatever page it might show up on within Everlesson, we'll go ahead and do this Alt numpad 7 trick to add bullets Let's go ahead and hit next now that our package is taken care of. And let's customize your access emails. So this is basically just a matter of determining what your customers are going to see in their inbox along with their login information. So this is their login information. Anything within the squiggly brackets here is going to be auto-populated by information that came from the transaction. So their name will automatically go in here. The URL for your membership will go in there. So all this stuff is taken care of. The only thing you want to add yourself is your actual support URL. So, support.fiddle.com or whatever. I just made that up, obviously. And you could edit this however you want it to. So if you want to put a big welcome paragraph in here, or type happy fiddling or something like that, it's totally up to you. Let's hit next. And for the payment method, we already chose JVZoo, so that's auto-selected here. Let's go with $19.99 for the price. Value, don't shortchange yourself here, okay? If you've never created a video course before or created an online course, and you put a lot of time and work and effort into doing this, I mean, charge what it's worth, okay? Charge the amount of charge the amount that reflects the amount of work and how big of an achievement this was for you when it comes to the value. Obviously, for the price, you're gonna have to get financially smart and make sure that you're choosing a price that's going to convert best, and you might have to toy around with that and try a few different prices and split test and stuff. But for our purposes, let's go ahead and say we think this is worth $99 per membership. And the button code here would basically you'd get that from JVZoo, okay? And if you use the PayPal mode, then you'd have something else to stick in here. And like I said, they've got a tutorial on how to set up your payment options. So for this, we'll just type in button code just to oops, just to have a placeholder there. Let's hit save. And let's see here. Public access. Be public even if you have a package created. No. Drip feed. This is cool in case you want to slowly unlock, automatically unlock certain portions of your course to people depending on how long they've been in the course. Let's see. Add resources. This would be cool if you wanted to add some PDFs or something like that. Rating system, if you want people to be able to rate your course. I'm not going to add that myself. Add monetization. This is cool. You can actually find ways to put monetization options inside of your course, like banners and clickable ads and that kind of thing. Add existing members, not an option right now, and queue feature members. That looks like something they're adding in the future. So this is just special Everlesson stuff that you can add. We'll go to the next step. And our sales page, it gives us a link for our login URL and our sales page right now. Neither of those are going to look perfect. Well, the login, let's just go to it real quick. The login page looks pretty much the way it's going to look. Okay. This is the one that we edited earlier. Remember, you can customize it however you want. This one here, don't worry too much about what this looks like. This is just what gets spit out automatically. We have to actually go and edit the sales page. So let's go to Exit Wizard. And here is our course, which is very cool. This is what we just created. We can actually go here to View Product. And inside of our membership, if people were looking at this, they'd be able to go through here and click on all the 3 courses inside. Here's our About section. Let's go and look at an actual course. And here's the actual course itself. And there's our video. And that's where your video would go. And they can navigate to different parts of the course. And there's areas for comments. And if we chose any of those other features, like drip feeding or allowing ratings and that kind of stuff, that would all be visible here as well. You see people actually have the ability to take notes while viewing your course right here, which is very cool. Discussions, I'm not worried about that for our purposes right now. And resources, if we had chose that add resource option and you had clicked on that and upload some PDFs, you can do that for each lesson. So Violin Basics, we could have a little PDF with a glossary of terms and a diagram or something along those lines totally up to you. And let's see, we want to basically finalize our sales page, I think. So let's come over here to sales pages, and we've got our Fiddler. So we've got a Fiddler membership sales page, which is going to show, let me just show you the one that automatically cranks out. Again, ignore this. This isn't what it's ultimately going to look like after you edit it. And if we had more packages or products inside of this membership, instead of just the beginner course, they would all be shown down here. And people could come to this general membership sales page and pick which ones they want. We're not going to do that right now. What I recommend is you create one course and send people to the sales page for it. So we already saw this demo here. Let's go to the quote block, and this is just some dummy text that they put in there. Let's change this to alright, a little bit cheesy, but it gets the point across. Let's save for that. And let's go to create long description. Let's go ahead and grab this. Stick that in there. We'll just pretend that that's our our sales page. Go ahead and grab one sentence here, another sentence here, another sentence there, and this one here. And we'll turn those into bullet points. And never thought possible, we'll make that our headline. And this is basically just a WYSIWYG editor. If you've ever used WordPress or something like that, you're probably familiar with how this works already. We can actually even add images, and we would do that right up here. For our purposes, I'll just leave this as is, though. And if we come to our new and improved sales page, we can see here, this is where your traffic would come, and they would, I would recommend that you flesh this out and make it look a little bit better inside of that WYSIWYG editor and really get the point across. With a whole lot more descriptions of each lesson, that sort of thing. But ultimately, you send traffic here, and they will click that buy button, and that's how they'll get into your course, and that's how you can begin making some money by teaching people things that you're passionate about. So thanks for sitting through this video. Good luck setting up your online course or info product, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right, welcome to Module 3. In this module, our expert will be teaching you about monetizing and managing your courses. So get ready to take some notes, and let's jump right in.
All right, guys, so we're here inside of the Everlesson dashboard again. We're going to talk quickly about monetization, how to set it up so that you can actually accept payments, and then we're going to get into the actual membership management and monitoring. So if you'll recall, we've got a little sales page here that we created in the previous lesson, and we can send traffic here, and we can accept payments. However, we can't really accept payments yet because we haven't truly set up monetization yet. So we have to actually go through a little bit of a process here. I'm going to go ahead and hit edit for our sale price of $20. And we've got all of this stuff filled out already from the previous lesson. Let's see, it is a one-time payment, as we determined already, and payment options. We went with JVZoo. Okay, JVZoo is a great digital product marketplace and payment platform. And what we need is an actual button code, which means we have to actually create this product in JVZoo. And when I say product, I mean product listing. Okay, so that JVZoo has something to process. So we're going to come over to JVZoo, and we're on the product creation page. We're going to give our product a name. Let's just call it Fiddler Course. And affiliates are a great way to get traffic on autopilot, so we're going to make this discoverable to affiliates. We're going to go show in our new public marketplace It is $20, so let's go ahead and do that. Then we're going to go to description. We're going to type in our description. Then we're going to go to categories. We're going to find one that seems to be somewhat related. Hopefully there's one for music or oh, here we go. Entertainment, music. That'll work. Currency, US dollars. Product price was, what was it, $19.99, I think. I'm going to go to quantity. We can leave that unlimited. Allow sales. Launch date doesn't really matter. It's not applicable, but we'll just leave it set to what it is. Let's see here. Commission payout percentage. Since we did have the affiliate option checked, that means if anybody finds our product on the marketplace and wants to promote it to their audience, we'll be willing to give them a certain percentage. So let's just say 25% for now. Product subscription based. It is not. It was a one-time. No time sale. We don't need to worry about this because it's not relevant to us. We want to accept payments through PayPal and Stripe. And we want to manually approve affiliates if they request to promote. We'll just say, give us a good way to contact you. Okay. And that's a little message that affiliates will see when they try to request an affiliate link. Let's see here. Support email address. Let's say fiddler@support.com. Just making that up. Sales page URL. We have that, so we can just put that right here. And we'll go to... let's see, checkout template, we'll stick to the standard one, classic, if you will. Receipt custom information. Let's go ahead and say, please check your email for login details. That's just a little message that's added to the receipt. And let's see... download/thank you page. We'll want to grab the actual login URL for our course, which for us was fiddlermembership.etc. And 45-day return period, that's fine. No physical delivery. Let's see, no more information collection. We'll turn off our autoresponder integration since we're using Everlesson's autoresponder, but we could use our own autoresponder if we really wanted to. The big thing here is going to be adding an external program integration. We're going to need that set up with a special URL that we get from Everlesson. So we'll come back into Everlesson, and this is the payment notification URL. Go ahead and copy that. Come back over here and paste that in there. And that is about it. We can now hit Save Product. And while that's saving, we'll come back over here and we'll talk about what needs to go in this field. Now, originally we just left a placeholder in there while we were going through the actual course creation process in the previous lesson. But now it's time, if we want to really accept payments, to actually find the button code for this from within JVZoo. And that's actually right here in the product details area under buttons. We're going to grab this button here. Copy. I mean, you can pick whatever style you want. It doesn't really matter since we'll be using our Everlesson sales page for accepting payments. But we do need the button code at least so that it's integrated correctly. We're going to go ahead and paste this here. And we'll hit save. And voila, we are all set to start accepting payments for our Fiddler course. Now let's talk really quickly about the campaign dashboard and monitoring your campaigns, okay? So now, of course, since we just set this up literally in the previous lesson, there's no stats to look at. I do want to just sort of familiarize you with the dashboard and a couple of pages for monitoring stats in the future, because it is a good idea to keep an eye on how things are going in your members area. So obviously we've got some pretty clear stuff. We've got a map that shows us where members are in the world. We've got the member database with lists of members. We've got how complete our membership is, and this gives us an indication of what we still need to work on. We've got gamification, we've got monetization. So let's have a look at each of those respectively. So here we've got our gamification stats. And again, we don't have any because we just started this. But what you're going to want to be looking at is seeing whether or not people are using your gamification. When you award goals or points for the completion of each lesson, you can actually come in here and see what members are actually going through the course, how many goals are completed, how many badges are earned, and that sort of thing. And if you're not getting much engagement in that area, you might have to do one of two things. You might have to change the gamification a little bit more, increase incentives, make it more attractive, or proactively market the concept of gamification. So send out marketing emails to your members, reminding them, hey, by the way, if you earn, X amount of points, you'll get a little reward. You'll unlock this free course, this, that, or the other thing. Or, hey, let's have a contest. Let's see who can get through the course the fastest. The next 5 people who finish the course, X, Y, Z. So you might have to actually galvanize and get people to actually start working if you're not seeing the type of results on this page that you want as far as gamification and progression through the course, which is very important. It's kind of the lifeblood of your online business. So the next thing here is going to be monetization. Again, no stats because we just started, but what you want to monitor here is get an impression of how many people are actually buying when they come to your page. Okay, so you've got impressions and clicks, and then you've got conversions. Okay, so how many people are coming to the page and how many people are actually buying, what percentage? If that's a low percentage, obviously you're going to want to change something about the marketing, the sales material, the sales page to make it more attractive. So this is very important to monitor because it has implications for your business. And then, of course, we've got the members page here, which will give you your members' names when they join, their last login, which is an important stat to sort of keep track of because that gives you an idea of the level of engagement that your members have and the amount spent. So pretty straightforward stuff. Just be aware that it's there and be aware that you do need to be monitoring this stuff and taking actions according to the information that you're finding here as you manage and monitor your online courses.
Hello, and welcome to this course on search advertising. In this course, we're going to cover how to set up paid search advertisements with Google AdWords. This course is divided into 3 modules. Module 1 covers ad campaign goals. Module 2 covers ad groups and keywords. And Module 3 covers creating the ads and monitoring performance. By the time this course is over, you'll know how to effectively launch search engine ad campaigns and bring in massive traffic to your business. So without further ado, let's dive into the first module. Hello, and welcome to Module 1. In this module, our ad expert will be teaching you about the various campaign goals and how to pick the best ones for your business. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the various goals you can choose from when creating a search ad campaign in Google AdWords. We'll start here at the main dashboard and we'll click Campaigns up here on the left. This brings us to our campaign dashboard, and since we want to create a new one, we'll click this blue plus sign button here on the left-hand side and we'll select New Campaign. As you can see, we've got 7 goals to choose from. But first, let's talk about what the word goal actually means in the AdWords universe. You see, rather than let companies fend for themselves and try to figure out each little variable and option in their ad settings without fully understanding what they do, Google decided recently to help guide advertisers along in understanding and shaping their ads to optimize them for specific common marketing goals. So if you choose one of these goals, you'll see helpful little suggestions next to all the settings and options in the upcoming steps. Suggestions specifically tailored towards your goal. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of the ad creation process, which previously could be pretty confusing. Now keep in mind, you want to pick the main thing you want to accomplish with this particular ad campaign. Let's have a look at each one. First up, there's sales. Google AdWords can help you bring in sales through a multitude of channels, including online stores, sales pages, inside apps, over the phone, and even physically in-store. Now you'll notice down here a list of campaign types associated with each campaign goal. This could be either search ads, display ads, shopping ads, video ads, or universal app ads. Since this course is all about search advertising, we'll want to make sure any goal we select has search as an applicable campaign type, which, as you can see, sales does. Next, there's leads. This is all about getting prospects onto your list. Whether you're building a basic email list or doing more complicated lead generation where you're collecting phone numbers, addresses, or anything else, this goal will help you optimize your ad for maximum return. Since this goal's main focus point is conversion tracking, it doesn't limit you to traditional lead generation. This can also help you optimize for other actions like registering for a webinar or taking a survey. Next, we've got website traffic. Now this goal is arguably the most generic and least specific. I would say this would best serve people who are doing content marketing or just trying to get more eyeballs on their blog posts, and who don't really care about specific actions or conversions. But it could be used for a whole host of things. Then there's product and brand consideration. This is a highly specialized type of goal that's largely oriented towards potential customers who have already started their research process, and you want to distinguish your products or services from others, and encourage them to explore more about your solutions. There's a lot more potential for engagement within the ad with this goal. For example, you can create interactive light boxes and ads with multiple images that they can interact with. It's pretty cool, but as you can see, this goal is only applicable to the display and video campaign types, not search ads, so we can skip it. Brand awareness and reach. This one's all about views. If people click your ads, that's great, but we're really focused on people noticing, seeing, and becoming aware of your brand. Your name, your logo, your unique selling proposition. As you can probably guess, these are very visual ads, and as such, search is once again not one of the applicable campaign types, so we can skip this. Next, app promotion. This one's pretty straightforward. You want people to install and use your apps. This one relies on the universal app campaign types, not search ads, so it doesn't apply to us for this course. Finally, there's the no goal option. This is where you're totally unguided. You've got your pick of any campaign type, and you don't have any tailored recommendations during the creation process. This should only be used by advanced users who know AdWords and ad performance like the back of their hands. And since you're watching this video lesson right now, it's a safe bet that doesn't apply to us. For the sake of this lesson, we're going to go with leads as our campaign goal. So I'll click that, and as you can see, we can now choose from any of these applicable campaign types. We'll choose search ads, and for the ways to reach our goal, we'll choose website visits. We don't really have a demo website for this lesson, so the first random website that pops into my head is everlesson.com, which is a really sweet membership/e-learning platform. So I'll type that in here and hit continue. That will bring us to our campaign settings page, which is what we'll cover in the next lesson.
Hello, and welcome to Module 2. In this module, our ad expert will be showing you how to set up ad groups and keyword for your campaign. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Okay, so we'll start here on the campaign settings screen. Now that we've chosen the goal, we're going to configure our settings for this campaign and then move into ad groups and keywords. So first we want to give our campaign a name. I'll go ahead and leave the auto-generated name they've got for me right here. Next, we'll choose which networks we want ads to appear on for this campaign. Now you can augment a search campaign with some limited display network ads if you want, and in that case, Google will basically determine relevant placements around the web and stick your ads there with what it considers leftover money from your budget. For our purposes, we'll go ahead and uncheck that display option and focus on search only. Next is the location field. Now this is pretty cool. Not only can we type in things like countries and cities, but we can even click advanced and let's zoom in all the way to, say, Omaha, Nebraska. We'll click radius, pin mode, and I can drop a pin and narrow my target audience all the way down to a specific number of miles from that pin. It's insane what you can do. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to stick with all countries and territories. Next, if you're targeting your audience based on language, you can do that right here. And then we have the budget. Now the budget is important to understand. This is not a cap on daily spending like a lot of people think. What you're actually setting here is your approximate monthly budget divided by about 30 days. So the actual spend on any given day could be as much as twice what you type here, and on other days it might be considerably less than that number. But Google will make sure that by the end of 1 month, when you divide it all up, you will have spent this number times about 30. So this will end up being your daily average, not your actual daily cap. Now you do have an option here. If you need to spend as much money as possible and get these ads out in a shorter period of time, let's say you're doing retargeting for a week-long product launch, or you're trying to meet a sales quota or something like that, you can set delivery to accelerate it so it'll spend your money faster. But just be aware, of course, that this will obviously cause your budget to run out early. Next is bidding. Now, bidding in AdWords is of course based on the old ad auction framework, where Google's algorithms are constantly deciding whose ads to show where and when and how often. You can choose what metric you want your bidding focused on right here. It's automatically set to clicks, which means it'll optimize for people actually clicking on your ads, but there's other options as well. Impressions refer to how many people see your ads, regardless of whether they click. And as you can see, there's 2 grayed out options here for conversions and conversion value. Now those are pretty nifty to use, but they require you to set up a special conversion tracking tool separately first, so we're going to focus on clicks. We have an option here to set a bid limit. So if you have a specific number in mind that you want to pay per click, you can enter that here. But if you want Google to simply handle this for you, you can leave it blank. Next, we've got start and end dates. Now, typically, ads just run indefinitely. But you might have a specific reason for setting an end date. For example, if you're running a limited time offer or promoting a live event. We'll leave this set to none for us. Next, there's audiences. Now here's the thing. Audiences are great. You've got a lot of demographic and interest-based options to choose from here, based on mountains of data that Google has collected, as well as based on your own data, like if you created a remarketing audience with a tracking pixel. However, most of this will be more useful if you're doing display ads or one of the other types of ads, and you want people to encounter your ads while they're browsing around the web. Since we're strictly dealing with search ads in this lesson, and we literally want to reach people on the search results page while they're typing specific keywords, we're going to skip this. Next, we have extensions. Now these are very cool. Site link extensions are a great way to add additional links to a search ad that link directly to specific pages like your About page or an Hours of Operation page. Callout extensions are great for adding important bits of information like free shipping or product details like vehicle mileage or any bullet point type things that don't fit into the main ad text. And finally, call extensions are literally a link that can lead directly to a phone call to a number of your choice. We won't need any of these for our purposes, but be sure to explore these options if they're relevant to your business. Now it's time to move on to ad groups and keywords. This gets directly to the heart of our search ad campaigns. What keywords do we want to show up for? You'll want to put a lot of thought into this because it directly affects your reach. The popularity and frequency of search terms is vital for obvious reasons, but you also need to balance that with the competition level for those search terms, since that impacts the amount of your budget that gets used per click. Now there's a few tools that can help you with this, including Google's own Keyword Planner, Moz, KW Finder, and SEMrush. These tools can help get search volume and competition rates for known keywords, as well as explore and discover additional relevant keywords that you might not have thought of. Once we've researched our keywords, we can literally just paste them all right here. Now you can divide your campaign into easier to manage and analyze groups called ad groups. And if you want to, you can have different sets of keywords in each group so you can see which ones perform better after the ad's been running for a while. For this lesson, however, we'll just need the one ad group. So I'll go ahead and paste my researched list of keywords right here. That's about it for this step. I'm going to hit save and continue, and we'll move on to creating the ad itself in the next module.
Hello, and welcome to Module 3. In this module, our ad expert will show you how to create your ads and monitor their performance after launch. So get ready to take some notes, and let's jump right in.
Alright, so here we are on the ad creation page. You've probably seen these search result ads about 1 billion times, right? Now it's your turn to create one. As we create this ad, keep an eye on this preview to the right here. This is where you can see a demo of what your ads will look like on the search results page. Step 1, we need to enter the final URL that our traffic will be landing on when clicking on our ads. Sticking with our previous example, we'll say we're sending people to the membership platform everlesson.com. Now let's create some headlines. These are the most visible and eye-catching parts of your ad, so you want to make sure the most important words are right here, which can require a lot of thought beforehand because there's a pretty tight character limit. Let's say super easy membership platform and start your free trial and point and click no coding. Now the next field here, display path, is optional. If you want your customer to see what specific pages or areas they're going to, you can put things here to reinforce the marketing message. Like if you have a clothing store, then you could put store.com/men's-shoes/outdoor or something like that. We don't really have any need for that, so we'll skip this option. Next, there's descriptions. Now, descriptions could be used to just cram some more extra information into your ad, since the headlines are pretty short. But the ideal would be to include a call to action like buy now or get started today. I think we'll try get your first online course up and running today. Now, more recently, Google added the ability to add yet another 90 characters of description here. That's probably advantageous in many cases, but I don't want my ads to get so crammed with text that the prospect's eyes miss the main message. So I'm going to stick with what we have here. That's it. Our ad is finished. So I'll hit done, and there we go. Our first search ad is ready to go. Now we could click new ad and create a few more ads with different headlines, different angles, and then we could compare later to see which ones work best. For this lesson, we'll stick with just this one, and I'll hit save and continue. This brings us to the final confirmation page, where we see a brief overview of the important details of our campaign. I'll go ahead and click continue to campaign. And here we have the dashboard for our ad groups. Now, it's not going to be very helpful to go over these stats when everything says 0. So let's come over here to a past campaign that already has some data for us to talk about. So here we've got an ad group from a previous campaign that already has some stats associated with it. This one was a test campaign for selling musical instruments. Here you can keep track of a ton of important stuff. For example, we've got the actual keywords themselves, along with a toggle button for enabling or pausing each individual keyword. We've got your max CPC if you set one, whether or not your keyword was approved. But the most important data is right over here. We've got your number of clicks, impressions, which means how many people saw your ads for those keywords, click-through rate, average cost per click, and the total cost from that keyword so far. So to take one of these as an example, the term violin sale has brought in 5 clicks to our website so far. That's out of 148 people who have seen the ad, which gives us a click rate of 3.38%. Now, based on the way Google was handling our bidding, we ended up spending $3.29 for those 5 clicks, which gives us an average cost per click of 66 cents from that keyword. As you can see, this campaign was in its infancy, but you should definitely monitor these stats regularly because over time, with more data, the averages become more certain and the differences in performance between keywords become more clear. If you determine that certain keywords aren't performing that well, or that there's just not enough search volume and you want to focus your budget elsewhere, you can pause individual keywords right here with this toggle option. And there you have it. We've successfully created a search advertising campaign.
Hello and welcome to this course on split testing. In this course, we're going to cover how to boost the performance of your pages and offers using split testing. This course is divided into 3 modules. Module 1 covers common elements that can be tested. Module 2 covers creating test variations. And Module 3 covers analyzing the results. By the time this course is over, you'll know how to effectively optimize your pages and get higher conversions for your business. So, without further ado, let's dive into the first module. Okay guys, welcome to Module 1. In this module, our expert will be teaching you about common elements that can be tested. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
All right, so we're going to use this landing page as an example and look at the various elements that can be split tested when you're trying to optimize your conversion rates. Now, one important thing that I want to emphasize, and we'll come back to it and I'll remind you later, is that you can only test one thing per variable that you're testing. So if you're testing 2 variations, only one element should be changed between the 2. Otherwise, you're not going to know what caused the increased conversion. Okay, if you start changing multiple variations, if you change a headline and a button and an image, in both of the variations, well, then you won't know whether it was the headline or the image, or the copy, or the background, or the button that made the difference. So it's incredibly important that when you are split testing among two variations, you're only doing one element at a time so that you can absolutely nail down what has what kind of effect on your conversion rates. So let's just take it from the top, okay? The headline. The headline is the first thing that you could potentially test in a split test to see if you get a better conversion rate, okay? And basically, if you've got a unique selling proposition or multiple angles that could be attractive about your product, you would want to figure out how to incorporate them and which ones to emphasize, because there's only so many words you can fit into a headline, right? I mean, that's the whole point of a headline, is that it's pretty short and sweet. You want to get people's attention, right? And you can only include so much information in there. So just as a random example, let's take things to a higher level. Sounds kind of cool, but it's also very vague, right? What if the headline was a little bit beefier and said, let me show you how to boost your revenue by 30%? That is more specific, and it might perform better. We don't know. We would have to test it. My guess is it probably would, but that's the point of a split test. So what we want to do is create one page with this headline, which we already have, and another page with that other headline, and leave all other elements the same. They have to remain constant between those two page variations. Now, the next thing you can change is imagery. Imagery is super powerful on landing pages, and it can make the difference between high and low conversion rates. So a lot of things to take into account are your target audience. You want to make sure that any human characters in your images will be relatable or have the desired effect on your audience. So if your audience is in a certain demographic group, just to give you an example, if you start noticing, and this is a real life example here, if you were to start noticing based on your email interaction with people in your customer community that many of them are elderly, many of them are retirees or coming up on retirement, well, guess what? You should probably have some gray hair in your images so that it's relatable, right? Gender is huge. There's competing studies out there as to whether or not a female is more likely to buy something if she sees a male or a fellow female. And it obviously depends on what type of product you're selling. Same thing with a man. Is he more likely to buy something if he sees a female or a male? It depends. If you're selling, masculine products, something like a big manly, deodorant brand, well, then you probably want to see men on screen using it, obviously. But can you incorporate gender into it? For example, ladies who are impressed by the smell of the deodorant, right? There's a science behind all of this. But what you can do is sort of skip the science and just split test what the difference is. So we could literally have an image like this, and then have the exact same image, or very similar, same pose or similar pose at least, but have a female here. Split test that and see what the difference is. And if you see a significant difference, one way or the other, then go with it. Go with the winner. Okay? Another thing to consider about imagery is tangible perceived value. Depending on your target audience, it may get you further to have a set of a bunch of what are clearly, pretend digital mock-ups of digital products. Okay? Because in some people, that sort of activates this feeling of, wow, that's a thing, and I want to get my hands on it. I want to possess that, right? But you could also test this with purely an abstract image of a person, with a headline next to them, or a person smiling, or an entrepreneur standing in their place of business, or something like that. No digital products being represented at all, and see if that works better. Once again, make sure that's the only element that you're testing, and then see what the winner is. Next, there's the copy, which is the actual text, the words of your message. This is very important. However, it's not quite as easy to just, play switcheroo with it, because there's a lot of it. There's multiple words, multiple sentences, right? And so, probably if you're going to split test different copy, they're going to be completely different. Okay, you're going to change which angle is emphasized. Depending on what you're selling or offering for free, there's probably multiple marketing angles that you could push that might be relevant to different target markets. And so you could have angle 1 and angle 2 and see which one works best. So for example, in this copy, you'll see there's sort of an assumption that a business exists. This mastermind course will take your business to the next level. Here's what it includes. But what if we split tested that against exact same page, but the copy was different and the angle was a little bit different, and in this next variation, what was actually being emphasized was a person who does not have an existing successful business, a person who's been struggling. So finally, once and for all, stop struggling and we'll get your business off the ground, or something like that, and test those two different marketing angles of copy against each other and see which one resonates the most with your traffic. And then finally, there's the button. Now, this is sort of a controversial area because there's people who swear that changing the color of a button can have a huge impact on conversion rates, and then there's people who think that that's just silly. So the correct answer is probably somewhere in the middle. There is evidence that different colors result in different behavior or different psychological effects on viewers. Red usually translates to urgency, but at the same time, red can also mean no. Blue usually translates to trust. At the same time, blue could, theoretically, not get your people excited enough or galvanized enough. And then there's branding. If brand colors and theme colors, that are part of your identity, are important to you, and maintaining an attractive page are important to you, then you might not have as many options to drastically change to just one specific color on your buy button. But if you do have the flexibility to run a quick test between blue and red, something simple like that, just to see on the off chance that it makes a difference, well, it might be worth doing so. And if the gap between the two of them is significant enough, then bravo, you've got a winner. You can go with whatever color that was, at least for that particular landing page. And finally, it's not just the color of the button, it's also the copy of the button. Okay, so the different wording. Take it to a higher level is kind of a cool sounding phrase, a little bit more vague, right? Get the course could be something that you test against that. One area on which there's been a lot of study is the point of view of the text. So if it's written from the point of view of the reader, and the reader sees the button as saying, give me the free report versus download your free report, there's been some studies and tests in the past that have shown that the give me the free report, meaning speaking from the perspective of the reader, has a higher conversion rate. It's probably not always going to be the case, but because that phenomenon does exist out there, it might be something smart to test on your pages. So those are some examples of things that you could split test. Remember, always keep in mind between two variations, only have one element different. Otherwise, there's no point in testing. All right. And then the common elements that we talked about were headline, imagery, copy, and buttons.
Hey folks, welcome to Module 2. In this module, our expert will be showing you how to create test variations. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
All right, so this is going to be a pretty quick walkthrough of the actual technical aspect of creating a split test. Now, depending on what type of sales page or lead page software you're working with, the process and the user interface might be a little bit different, but the general principles are the same, and most high-end softwares do have this A/B split testing functionality. So you might just have to dig a little bit or get in touch with the support team for your software, and you'll be able to do the same thing regardless of what you're using. In our case, we're using Instapage, which is a very, very good landing page software. And here's the page we were looking at earlier in the previous lesson. So after some time reflecting on the best thing to change on this page, let's say we decided that the first thing we want to test is the headline. Okay, we're looking at everything seems pretty good, but that headline seems a little bit vague. Okay, so let's go ahead and click Create an A/B Test up here in the top left. This right here just became variation A when we did that. So now we're going to create a new variation. This is variation B. They look exactly the same. Let's go ahead and change the copy of the headline. Let's go ahead and change this a little bit. See if we can get it to fit on one line. All right, so now we have what is essentially a more specific headline. Rather than just take things to the next level or to a higher level, now we're actually telling the prospect what the benefits of this mastermind will be. Conversions and sales. And people can instantly figure out exactly what the focus of this mastermind is going to be. So there's a safe bet that that will probably perform considerably better. If we were to hit update, that would be published as a variation. Now, the way this works is that from this point forward, there will be a 50-50 split, an equal split. So when you're sending traffic to this page, from this moment forward, the first next person is going to go to variation B, the next person is going to go to variation A, and it's going to alternate, filtering left, right, left, right, left, right, A, B, A, B, A, B, so that you have 50% in both pools, and you can see equally what the performance level of each respective one is. Now, depending on what kind of software you're using, it is possible to run a multivariate split test, where you can come on over here, hit new variation, we've got another one here, and we can change the headline again. You can make it a completely different variation as far as the software is concerned, but again, we want to stick to that rule of conversion, optimization, and split testing, and we can basically have a three-way split test between 3 different headline variations and see which one performs the best. We could add another one and have a 4-way test. Does that kind of make sense? As long as it's only one element per time, you can have as many variations as you want. Obviously, you don't want to have too many variations because then you won't have as substantial an amount of traffic going to each variation, and you won't be able to trust and be confident of the results as much. So it's probably best to stick to 2 or 3. Run as much traffic as you can through those, and of course it'll be split equally. So if you have 3, it'll be 33, 33, and 33% going to each page. The next step here is to sit and wait and just let some traffic come to this page until we have a substantial amount that we can actually be certain of the results. Because if we have 10 people come through here and we notice that this page has a 30% higher opt-in rate than the other page, it doesn't really mean anything. It was a pretty small sample group, 10 people. So we want at least something like 50 people to each variation, something in that neighborhood, before we start making assumptions about the results we see. And that's what we're going to do next. Okay, we're going to sit, wait until we have enough data, and then in the next lesson, we're going to analyze results.
All right, welcome to Module 3. In this module, our expert will teach you about analyzing the split test results. So get ready to take some notes, and let's jump right in.
All right, so in this lesson, we're going to be going over some real-world examples of split test results and how to sort of analyze them and what to do with those results. So let's have a look at this one first. This is the page, the original page that we're looking at, okay? Very basic page, minimalist, headline, logo at the top, and a button. And it doesn't really say anything about what it is. In fact, this would be called a blind headline. Okay, it's blinder than blind, actually. So this was the original, and then it was split tested against a couple of other variants. And let's have a look here. So variation, let's see here. Let's make sure I got that right. This is the original. Variation A. They're out of order in that line there. Okay, that's the original. That makes more sense. So this is the original, and it has a little bit of information about the product. Variation B presumably was the blind one. Yep. And variation C was sort of similar to variation A, but the main headline was a little bit smaller, but with more text in it. So start making money online with 200 plus free video lessons. Start making money online with our Internet Marketing Academy. So this one has a little bit more detail in it. Let's have a look at what actually was the winner. So variation A, as many of us probably could have guessed, did in fact do a little bit better. It had the highest rate. It was 44.7% conversions. So out of 47 visitors to that variation, 21 of them converted, and that's a pretty solid conversion rate. And there's not much of a difference, though, between that, surprisingly, and the blind one. Whereas this one here, surprisingly, did the worst, 30%, 11.5% less. Now, even though we have what most would agree is a reasonable amount of traffic per variation to come to some conclusions, this is pretty low. We would really want to follow that and see if variation C, which is very similar to variation A, is in fact that much worse and does in fact perform that much worse. One might say that this one performs better because it gets the tangible or the specifics out in the main headline, 200 plus free video lessons, while this one, variation B, performs well because it's the opposite extreme, and blind headlines do in fact sort of galvanize people sometimes. Depending on who you're targeting. If you're targeting people in the MMO niche, the make money online niche, for example, and they can't make any money online, and they see a blind headline that literally just says start making money online right now, maybe that's the factor that made this one almost as successful as the counterpart with the more detailed headline. So the only way to know for sure would be to send more traffic to it. However, if you're running a live operation, you're not just split testing for fun. Remember, you're actually running a business with dollars and cents. It's hard to do that. It's hard to keep throwing money into something that after this much traffic seems to have a lower conversion rate. So rather than just keep it going equally, some might say it's better to just slowly dial it down so that you can have a little bit of traffic going there, which will be useful for checking back up on that split test and seeing if the results changed, let's say a month from now. But you're not wasting too much money by losing that if, in fact, it is objectively true that it performs less. And the way that you do that is just adjusting the traffic split. Now, again, depending on what software you are utilizing, this may or may not be an option, or it might look a little bit different. But on Instapage, it's called traffic split, and you can manually set the traffic split to whatever you want. Absolutely whatever you want. So if we want 15% going to variation C because it's not doing great, but we want to continue accumulating some more traffic and evidence over the course of the coming months and then check again, we can do that. But because these ones are making us the highest number of leads or the highest amount of money right now, we want most of our traffic going there at the moment. Does that kind of make sense? Now let's have another look at a similar real-world example here. And let's see, we'll load up the variations. Okay, so as you can see, there's a pretty significant difference between these. There's no neck and neck like on the previous example. 79.4% is an insane conversion rate for a lead page. Let's have a look at what the difference was. There's this, and this. You'll notice the headline is the same. The size of the box might change a little bit, the text is a little bit wider in that one, but the headline's the same in all of these. The subheadline is exactly the same. And the button is exactly the same. Now this is what's called a bridge page. Okay, so this is a lead page where you capture a lead, but what you're really pitching is a video. And in this case, if I recall, the visitor was then just sent to a sales video for an affiliate offer. Okay? But variation A didn't perform terrible by any means. 38% is still a respectable conversion rate, but it's the lowest of these. And it's a little bit odd because this is kind of a cool looking image. But I think a meteor striking the earth seemed to resonate. I mean, this is a great looking image, but maybe it resonated a little bit more directly being in the center of the screen and having a lot of focus on it, a lot of contrast there in the colors. And it resonated a lot, or I should say, it worked well with the red words earth-shattering. Earth-shattering video changes everything. you know. Now, that was the whole point of all three images. There's a picture of Earth shattering. This one, it's debatable whether Earth is actually shattering. It looks like, yeah, it looks like some type of a planet is colliding into Earth. Shout out to all those, what are they called, Nibiru people out there. But for some reason, this one was astronomically more popular. And here's the deal. When you're analyzing split test results, you're not always going to have an answer. You're not always going to have a why. You know, you're not always going to be able to understand why this one. And honestly, many of the people who come to the page won't be able to tell you why. You know, there's just psychological phenomenons sometimes that are very difficult to nail down and enunciate. Your job, however, unless you're a research scientist or something, isn't necessarily to worry and stress out about the why. What you're interested in is the what. And the what in this case is that you're going to get 80%. 8 out of 10 of the people who you send to this variation right here are going to opt in. So let's definitely use that variation more. Does that kind of make sense? So we would want to take, you know, we were talking about dialing it down and dialing it up. We would probably call this one good. It's a lot of traffic, huge difference in conversion, same traffic source for all these pages. You know, one traffic source to one landing page with 3 variations. I mean, you might as well just do this, you know, or even just 100% to variation B. You know, you could turn these ones off. That's a clear winner. So again, sometimes it's going to be a little bit mysterious. Don't stress out too much about the why, although the why can be useful for future endeavors. So if you can enunciate it and can nail it down, then by all means do so. But don't stress out about it too much because you don't really need to know the why. You just want to know which one's performing best and put all of your marketing efforts into that one from that point forward.
Hello and welcome to this course on timeline advertising. In this course, we're going to cover how to drive targeted traffic from Twitter with ads that appear in people's Twitter timelines. This course is divided into 3 modules. Module 1 covers campaign objectives and details. Module 2 covers ad groups and targeting. And Module 3 covers creating the actual ad itself and launching the campaign. By the time this course is over, you'll know how to effectively create and launch Twitter ad campaigns for your business. So without further ado, let's dive into the first module. Okay guys, welcome to Module 1. In this module, our expert will be teaching you about campaign objectives and details. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
Okay, so here we are on the Twitter dashboard. We're going to come up here to Create Campaign. Click Start Over. And let's talk about these Twitter campaign goals. Now, campaign goals or objectives, you'll notice, are taking over advertising platforms. Google, AdWords, Facebook, and a bunch of other ones have chosen to create this step in their ad creation process where you can choose common campaign objectives and then those guide you with hints and tailorizations throughout the ad creation process. We've already seen that with a few of the other big ones. Now we're seeing it with Twitter. And overall, I think it's definitely a good thing, certainly more user-friendly. If you've been doing some of these on your own sort of ad hoc in the past, then you'll probably notice it's a little bit different now. So let's talk about app installs first. App installs is pretty simple. If you have a mobile app, if that's your business and you want to get more people to install it on their phone, literally click a link on Twitter and then that takes them to the App Store for your respective, OS, and then install your app. This is what you're going for. This is your campaign objective. The next one is followers. Now it says on and off Twitter here, but obviously what we're talking about is gauging your campaign success by the number of people who end up following your profile on Twitter. And that's pretty powerful, especially if in addition to your advertising, you also do a lot of organic promotion or organic content on Twitter, and you want to increase the range of that organic reach. Increasing your followers with paid ads is a good way to do that. And tweet engagements. This is a good one to go after if your primary concern is interaction with other Twitter users on Twitter. If you want people interacting with your brand when you tweet. So we're looking at retweets. We're looking at comments, likes, that sort of thing. Those will be what you're measuring the success of these campaigns by. Over here we've got promoted video views. That's pretty self-explanatory. Video, although it's not thought of as the primary thing on Twitter, since there's length restrictions and stuff, is still pretty powerful on Twitter, and video ads are a pretty significant and impactful way to get your message across. Website clicks or conversions. This is probably the most standard issue, meat and potatoes type of campaign goal. This covers sort of everything, especially things like lead generation, right? So you actually want people clicking away from Twitter and coming over to your web properties, namely, a landing page where you're collecting a lead. Or if you're doing content marketing, maybe to a content piece with a retargeting pixel. Or if you're selling something directly, sales pages, e-commerce stores, product listings, that sort of stuff. All of that is going to come here. And my guess is somewhere around 60-70% of those of you who are watching this video are going to be relying on this one somewhat heavily. App re-engagements. So the app is already installed on their phone, and you want them to click on a Twitter ad that reminds them to log back in and use it. Okay, so if you're running some type of a video game app for iOS or Android, and this is a good way to get those people to log back into that app and play in that game with a nice, maybe a video ad or something. You actually see a lot of people doing this, a lot of companies doing this. What's that one? Clash of Clans is doing that type of thing with ads all the time. In-stream video views pre-roll. This sounds a lot like YouTube's in-stream video, and that's basically what it is. You're taking other people's content, you're taking existing content, and you're sticking your little video ad at the very beginning of it. It's going to be pretty short, but you get some pretty cool placement there that you wouldn't otherwise get. Awareness. This, you don't really care about the retweets, you don't really care about clicks to your website, you don't even really care about followers. What you want is your brand identity, literally your name, your logo, your identity in front of as many eyeballs as possible. Okay, so this is based on, impressions. Even if people are just swiping by and not really super conscious of the fact that they've just seen your brand, you're sort of building that subconscious top-of-mind awareness, and this is a good campaign for building that. So now let's go ahead and click on followers. Let's say that we're trying to build a follower campaign so that we can increase our organic reach without having to pay for ads on Twitter. All right, and how it works, this is a little explanation of how things work. You're going to promote your account to build an engaged audience. You're only paying for the followers you gain. So it doesn't matter what type of engagement you get on this post. We could get, 100 retweets and likes and comments and all that good stuff, clicks to our website, pretty much anything. And we're not being billed for any of that. So that's all just extra, That's all just gratis. What we're paying for is just people who click and follow our profile on Twitter. So this is pretty sweet if that's your primary goal. And you've got all the basic stuff here. You've got your campaign name. You've got a start date. You've got an optional end date. So let's talk about some reasons you might have an end date. Let's say you've got a sales quota coming up. An end date might be useful. In fact, an end date in conjunction with accelerated delivery, which will spend your budget faster and try to get your ad in front of more eyeballs in a more frequent and quick way. Those two things could work together quite well. If you've got a live event coming up, an actual physical live event that's happening on a specific day, well, obviously, that's got to end at some point, preferably a few days before the event, so that would be a good time to utilize an end date for your campaign, as well as accelerated delivery. A product launch where you've literally just got a 7-day window. That would make sense to have a start and an end date, and maybe even an accelerated delivery, okay? But most people are probably just going to let ads run evergreen, most brands on Twitter, because it's a part of their actual, day-to-day life, their day-to-day advertising. Then we've got, daily budget. And then we've got total budget, which is optional. So if we want to spend, let's say, $25 per day, and sort of indefinitely, however, we want this particular campaign to run out after, let's say, $2,000, we can configure it in this manner. So after however many days, this will eventually grind to a halt when we hit our total budget, and then we can sort of stop and breathe and look back at the campaign to see how it performed and whether or not we want to change things up a little bit, start a new campaign, use a different approach. So that's pretty much it for campaign details. I'll set this back to standard. We're going to hit next up here, and that's going to bring us to the Ad Groups page. And that's what we'll discuss in the next lesson.
Hey folks, welcome to Module 2. In this module, our expert will be covering ad groups and targeting. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
All right, so here we are on the ad group page. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that some of these variables seem to conflict with the variables on the campaign creation page. However, this is overlap, okay? This is sort of compartmentalization. The idea is you can have multiple ad groups, and so why not compartmentalize and have one ad group with one angle that ends on a certain day, and then have the other one with a different angle take over on a certain day, all within the same campaign. Same thing goes for budget here. You can sort of narrow down and sub-allocate budget to a specific ad group within a campaign if you only want to spend X amount on one marketing angle, or one specific type of targeting or something along those lines, but still keep it within one overall sort of umbrella campaign. The next thing here is bid type. Now, by default, it's actually set to automatic bid. If you've done your homework, if you have a pretty solid understanding of the market value of bids for, the various types of engagements or clicks or objectives that you're going for, if you've done your homework, target cost can be something that you can incorporate into your campaign. However, if you haven't and you're new to Twitter ads, it's best if you just let Twitter and their algorithms handle this for you. Then we're going to hit next. This will bring us to our audience page. This is where the magic happens. So our audience page, the first option that you have is if you already have existing audiences, saved audiences. For example, let's say you've got retargeting pixels out there, and you've got Twitter maintaining a list of people who are interacting with your content on the web. You could actually incorporate these right here. We're not going to do that. Demographics. Ideally, before you run any ad campaign, you should have done some market research, or you should already know who your ideal customer avatar is based on all sorts of information. You would take that avatar and then you would use these variables here to match that as much as possible. So age, gender, where they're located, what type of technology they use, and generally speaking, if you haven't done that research, you should try to leave it a little bit broad, okay? So unless you know that your product is going to be more marketable to females, either because of common sense, if it's a female-related product, or you've got market research specifically, that where you actually did the studying, you hit the books, and you found out that males are more likely to buy product X than females. Unless you've done that kind of stuff, you should leave this more or less broad. Down here, you've got an odd collection of different things that you can specify. Locations, that's obviously pretty common. You can choose countries, you can narrow down to states, regions, that sort of thing, even zip codes. However, the rest of these are a little bit unusual. Operating system version is something that you can target by if you only want people using this or that operating system. Same thing for device models. That's pretty specific. Platforms that they're using. Languages, that's not super special. We see that type of thing all the time. And even carriers. They're mobile carriers. So depending on what you're marketing exactly, those might be relevant to you. Most people probably won't end up using these or narrowing down by these ones right here, though. Just language and location could come in handy for most of you. The next thing here is going to be the audience feature. This is where you get into sort of that Facebook style narrowing down of people by their interests, by their past behavior, that sort of thing. So we could, let's say just for grins, we're a piano company. We want to narrow down by people who might be interested in learning to play the piano. And so we're going to go into interests, and we're going to click on music and radio, and we're going to find classical down here, for example, and hit add. And boom, there you go. We just had approximately, what did it say? Music and radio. It'll give you an estimate on the right-hand side. 381,000 people who Twitter has positively identified as having shown evidence of being interested in classical music at some point in the past. Okay, so that's a pretty powerful way to target people. And as you can see, we've got a target summary or an audience summary right here on the right-hand side that changes as you shape and narrow your audience. Now, recommendations is an interesting one. Basically, Twitter will figure out what the most popular hashtags and usernames are based on the audience that you've selected, and then they will incorporate those usernames and hashtags into your marketing for even further targeting. Now, the problem with that for us is we set all of our demographics to super broad. So because we're so broad, I don't know that having Twitter's algorithms go out and find popular hashtags and usernames associated with this demographic is going to be of any use to us at all. So I'm going to leave that turned off, but it definitely sounds like something worth exploring depending on how narrow your audience becomes and how narrow your demographics get. Now, another new feature here is retargeting people who saw or engaged with past tweets. That is a huge, very, very powerful way to sort of spend your ad dollar on specifically people who are already familiar with your brand, so that you're not getting as much in the way of cold looks, but you're getting some warm audience as well. Once we've got our audience all set up and selected, we're going to hit next, and that's going to bring us to the actual ad creative, which is what we'll cover in the next lesson.
All right, welcome to Module 3. In this module, our expert will teach you about creating the actual ad itself and launching the campaign. So get ready to take some notes, and let's jump right in.
All right, so here we are on the actual ad creative page. Now, an ad in Twitter is a tweet. That's important to understand. And what you can do is reach back into past existing tweets and turn those into promotional tweets. Or you could just create one from scratch. Now, in our case, we've got one right here. And you can shuffle, by the way, by organic tweets that you've done in the past, scheduled tweets, and promoted-only tweets. Right now we have a scheduled tweet that happens to exist. We can utilize this as our Twitter ad, and you really want to match your ad copy to what your campaign goals are. So obviously, if your campaign goals had been website clicks and conversions, well, then you would want some type of a call to action that leads to people clicking and leaving Twitter to go to your site. In our case, we chose followers. So we want more and more followers. And that basically means we want people to look at our ad for a little while, and we want it to speak to them. We want them to answer a question, because if they engage with our ad, for example, by leaving a comment, they'll probably be more likely to hit the follow button as well and follow us on Twitter. So that's how we sort of structured this ad here. Now, let's go ahead and select it. We'll hit next. Oh, and I should mention, users' timelines is the default setting because that's what Twitter is. That's like 90% of Twitter is the timeline. Okay, but you can also choose to sneak your ads into profile pages and tweet detail pages, which we'll leave selected to increase our reach. Next. All right, so here we are. We can review the details of our campaign and ad group and our audience targeting one final time. We've got our date, we've got our budget, we've got our pacing, we've got our ad group, we've got our audience right here. We've got our placement that we chose, and right here is our actual ad, okay? So a compelling image that sort of pops out, plus a question. Our favorite song to play during piano lessons was such and such. What was yours? All right, so hopefully we'll actually get some comments, some answers, and people choosing to follow us on Twitter so we can increase our organic reach, and that is pretty much the only reason that we're running this ad. That's our campaign goal. We would hit Launch Campaign. And there you go. Now, once your campaign is published, you're going to want to regularly monitor these stats right here. Okay? You want to keep an eye particularly on impressions, so your overall ad spend, your results, which in our case, once again, we're looking for follows, your results rate, which is going to be a combination of impressions and results, your cost per ad result, which is very important. That's sort of your main metric. That's going to be a combination of your overall spend and the results, and how that's matching up against your daily budget. And of course, keep an eye on how much money you have left as well. But you're going to want to adjust your ad groups and your angles and so on and so forth if you're noticing that the performance that you're getting here is not quite up to par and you're not getting your best bang for your buck out of the budget that you're putting into your ads. So make sure you come back here, monitor your campaigns, compare them with each other, compare them with past data, and keep on top of this so that you are actually getting the results that are best for you for every single cent that you put into Twitter's pockets. But that is it, guys. We have successfully gone through the entire process now of planning out, setting up, and launching our first ad on Twitter.